Put it on the bonk list. That's gross.
Yeah. And like, again, I don't know. You got down, then she was like, I have to go to the doctor now.
No, obviously I heard that word when I was 10, and I found out
Where
later.
did you hear it? Why would you hear that?
I don't know. Because life happens.
That's early. I'm gonna step in here. That's early to learn that word. On today's part of my take, we have the very, very funny Nate Bargatze. He is in studio. We did this interview on Sunday morning.
Credit to us for coming in on Sunday morning.
Yes. Awesome interview. One of the best dudes out there. Had a great time with him. He's got a podcast. He's on tour all the time. Go check him out. We're going to talk some college football Wednesdays. We have a Jets discussion that needs to be had with one producer named Memes. We're going to do some hot seat, cool throne, and the return of Guys on Chicks. Guys on Chicks officially back. It's all brought to you by our friends at Chevy. There's a new family with unstoppable grit, and they're the official partners of the Pardon My Take family, and that is the Chevy Silverado ZR2 family. The first ever Silverado heavy-duty ZR2 joins the franchise to make Chevy ZR2 the only truck brand with a full lineup of trucks ready for wherever your off-road adventures take you. With exclusive Multimatic DSSV dampers, rugged mud terrain tires, and up to 14 available camera views, the Chevy Silverado ZR2 and Silverado HD ZR2, a family with commanding and unstoppable grit. Head to Chevy.com, check out Chevy Silverado and the family of Chevy ZR2s, the official trucks of Pardon My Take. We are truck people. We are Chevy people. We love Chevy. So if you are thinking about getting a truck or you have a truck, make sure it's a Chevy because Chevy is our wonderful sponsor. Head over to Chevy.com, check out the Chevy Silverado and family of Chevy ZR2s, the official trucks of Pardon My Take. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Pardon My Take. Today is Wednesday, November 8th. And my God, they got to stop putting Zach Wilson in primetime games.
Mr. Fourth Quarter. He had a nice drive at the end of the game.
Well,
it was awesome when Troy Aikman was like, now this is where Zach Wilson really comes alive on that last drive when they were down, was it 27-6 at the time?
Yeah, no points, which hurt people who bet the over, which would have been a very lucky over. That was one of the most frustrating games to watch because the Jets defense is as legit comes. They dominated that game from a defensive standpoint. And I know Zach Wilson has no offensive line. Zach Wilson might be my favorite guy taking sacks because when he takes a sack, he really he doesn't go half measure. He's not like, oh, I'll just take this little sack here, this little 5-yard sack. No. He's like, how far back can I get before I take this sack? How can I make sure that even there's a theory floating out there that Zach Wilson takes such great third down sacks so that there's never even a doubt of going for it so he can get off the field.
Yeah, there's also the theory that the Jets' offensive line is so bad that it doesn't matter who they have at quarterback, where it could be. Honestly, I think if they had Josh Dobbs at quarterback, they could figure it out. Josh Dobbs with 0 practice reps is probably a better fit for that offense than Zach Wilson is. He looks confused in the middle of plays. Yeah. Like after he takes his drop and he looks somewhat competent as he goes back there. And then as soon as anything off schedule starts to happen, he looks like he had never run that play before. And he has no idea what his receivers are doing, what his offensive line is doing. I love it when Troy Aikman gets frustrated at players, like during the games, because he actually does not hide his disgust for it. And you know who does hide their disgust for it?
Who?
Is Memes.
Yeah.
Because Memes just goes radio silent when the Jets are playing poorly.
He lost the password to our Twitter account, Pardon My Take Twitter account, for anyone who's looking for updates on Monday Night Football. Sorry, there were none last night.
It's okay. It's not like there was a huge upset in basketball going on, once in a generation upset.
He lost the
password.
password.
That's fine. He lost the password. I understand. I'm not blaming.
My Wi-Fi went out.
Yeah,
his Wi-Fi went out.
I'm going to blame Hank, actually.
Oh, so Wi-Fi, your phone doesn't work?
Yeah, no. It's connected to Wi-Fi.
That's too bad. You don't have cell service.
Hank
Doesn't work pay for your phone bill?
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
really?
Well, it should.
But Hank, aren't you Memes' boss?
I am.
So how does Memes lose the password?
He never reached out and ran that up the chain either. I would have been happy to facilitate getting him a password replacement.
As a boss, that doesn't set off red flags that there's no tweeting going on during Monday Night Football or during the aforementioned college basketball upset.
It does. We mentioned it to him, and he just didn't respond.
Hank was also busy because he was working on his Lighthouse presentation, which is coming out today.
Yeah, we'll get to that in Hot Seat Cool Throne.
Oh, I thought, okay, all right, we'll get to it on Hot Seat Cool Throne. So memes. We also had someone who tries to hide their disgust for Zach Wilson, but does a really bad job of it, is Robert Salah. After the game, he had one of the meanest quotes you can say about someone after Zach Wilson had a horrific Monday night. Again, their offensive line is bad. We're not going to say it's all on Zach Wilson. He just loves to run backwards and find a way to just get maximum amount of negative yards. But Robert Salah said after the game, I'm not going to say it was even close to Zach Wilson's worst game, which is so mean.
I actually agree with that, though.
It is, but it's also true. It's also so mean to be like, what you guys just watched was really bad. He's been way worse.
Way worse.
it's
like, true, but it's a very mean truth.
It's such a mean thing.
It's an insult analysis.
Yeah. So, memes. Do you still think the Jets are the best team in the NFC?
The NFC standings took a hit this week.
The Jets play in the AFC, by the way.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know.
NFC standings took a hit. I put Lions 1, Jets 2, 49ers 3, Seahawks 4, Eagles 5.
Okay. It's you know ball memes.
Yeah.
So where are you at, memes? Because this is the most frustrating team to watch. I've been here before. Having a defense as good as the Jets defense and then having nothing to show on offense will make you just not want to be a sports fan anymore. The Jets won that game with that was a very winnable game defensively and what they did to the Chargers. But they just couldn't muster anything in terms of offense.
Yeah, and the worst part is that was probably the most important game of the season.
Oh.
So if going into the game, if they would have won, their playoff chance goes to 66%.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they lost, it goes to 33%.
Oh.
It's a big hit. It's
Yeah.
50% drop, basically.
The Chargers beat you 27-6, and they had 191 total yards of offense.
Yeah, it's not a good Chargers team either.
No, it's not.
Well, they did just beat you.
Nah, that's not saying much.
Memes, do you
Okay.
think that if you took USC's offense and put the Jets defense on the team, do you think that they could beat the Chargers?
Yeah, by 50.
By 50?
50?
Wow. But
Wait, but it'd be USC's offensive line.
yeah,
That's fine.
Okay.
Got Caleb Williams.
if you're if you're a Jets fan, your Super Bowl every single week is the same thing. And that's getting to watch Aaron Rodgers throw a couple passes and warm-ups and being like, well, when he comes back. You know, it's a really good recipe for success when you take like a 40-year-old quarterback that has one ankle and then you put him behind that offensive line. I think that's going to end up well for everybody.
And Aaron Rodgers, I've tried to make my peace with him. I think I've done a good job this year. It helps that he hasn't been playing. I mean, what's he doing? It is. We criticize Russell Wilson for it. Aaron Rodgers is doing the same thing. Monday Night Football comes around, Sunday Night Football comes around, he hops on a plane, goes to New York, throws a ball around on the field just so that every camera in the world can catch him and be like, whoa, this is crazy.
Is he not with the team? Because
I
I've been
think he
hearing
goes
stories about
back
him
and
being in
forth.
meetings. Like,
Oh, he might
during the week.
be back with the team now, but either way, it's just like every single game, like you don't have to throw the passes before the game.
he's not taking simulated fist bumps running out onto the field, though. And he's
But
not,
there's
like,
no
doing
reason
simulated
for him to
huddles.
stand on the field
He-
throwing passes just so that all the cameras can be like, Aaron Rodgers, look at him, he's throwing passes.
So my theory about Aaron Rodgers is he's a troll. He loves trolling. He loves fucking with the media a little bit, right? I don't think that he's going to come back in a couple weeks. I think he's doing this knowing that the media will see him on TV and talk about Aaron Rodgers coming back.
Yeah.
And he's doing it to fuck with everybody. I don't there might be an outside chance that if the Jets make the playoffs, he's back. And I'm saying this as somebody, I did put a bet on Aaron Rodgers to win comeback player of the year, which was plus 10,000. So I think I win $10,000. I put $100 on it. So I'm hoping that happens. But I think he's fucking with us a little bit.
So I think he's fucking with us. He did say after the game, who was he talking to? Derwin James. He's like, I'll be back in a few weeks.
And he didn't cover his mouth. Most of the time, players cover their mouths when
There-
they're doing those comments.
There also is the theory, I saw one of the Lebitard guys threw this out there, that is a good theory that maybe he never tore his Achilles.
Oh, at all?
And he's just doing this to prove that modern medicine is fugazi. And he's like, he just didn't tear his Achilles. He had maybe a bad ankle injury.
I like that theory.
He did a fake. He was actually in a green screen studio with the picture of him in surgery.
Uh-huh.
It was where they taped the moon landing.
Stanley Kubrick filmed it.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one guy that this theory actually would give me, like, I wouldn't be like, no chance that's true. It's Aaron Rodgers. Like, you couldn't do this theory for Kirk Cousins.
No.
You could do this theory for Aaron Rodgers.
Although we saw his calf.
We saw his calf
when it happened.
rupture
It was like the KD thing.
Yeah.
So he got the same type of surgery, right? The speed bridge.
Yeah.
That what's his name?
He's bionic.
Yeah, Georgia. Brock Bowers had.
No, Brock Bowers had an ankle injury. He had the zip tie put in his ankle.
I thought that was also a speed bridge. I know it was a different injury.
Yeah,
obviously.
that's the Alabama ankle, the Tua thing, where they're like, oh, you have a really bad sprain. Let me just zip tie your ankle together.
The doctor actually just takes you into the surgery room and just rubs some dirt on your ankle. You're gonna get back out there. But I don't think he's as close to coming back, especially if you see that offensive line. Like, why would you come back off the most major surgery you can have? And then agree to play back there.
Right, he's throwing the ball. He's not running around running for his life, which he'd have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a great story. I'm rooting for him to come back as a reformed Aaron Rodgers fan or former hater, now fan. I'm rooting for him to come back. I just think that, it's a little much every single Sunday or Monday being like, do you see this pass?
I think they should have him just run out onto the field with the American flag before every game.
Oh, that was when Memes was in.
Memes
had his password to his account.
Yeah.
Because he did tweet, this was cool. And it was just a video of Aaron Rodgers coming out on the field. So his Wi-Fi worked for that.
That should be his job for the rest of the year. Just get the people amped up.
Memes?
You're on.
He's giving Max the death stare for not turning his mic.
Yeah, Max forgot to push the button again.
This is Lash Out.
Memes is such a dick.
He's such a dick. He's such a dick.
Now his fucking mic's off.
This is great, though, because it's really, like, Memes cares a lot about the Jets, and he's acting accordingly. Going radio silent, being a dick to everyone. This is how people should cope with their team, coming to the realization that you're wasting an all-time defense on Zach Wilson.
I just wish that the Jets would make it fun at least,
And we get him again Sunday night.
Great. We need to see them do something that's entertaining. We threw out all the best names as quarterbacks that should step in on like a week-to-week basis. Can you imagine how funny it would be watching Carson Wentz behind that offensive line?
Why not?
You want to talk about a guy like running for his life and completely losing it in the backfield. Carson Wentz would be so funny.
He'd break both ankles again. We have, so the upcoming standalone games is the true sicko hour. It's like we're testing our mettle as sports fans, because you have to remind yourself that in May you would kill for these games. But we have Thursday night Bears-Panthers, Sunday morning in Germany Colts-Patriots, Sunday night Raiders-Jets, Monday night Broncos-Bills.
Broncos-Bills might at least
good
be
team.
kind of fun.
Yeah, it is really going to, like, you sure you love football? Watch every single one of these standalone games. Then we can tell you that you love football.
I do love football.
I do
and
too.
I
like
will be
this
watching.
If I read that same list to you in July, you'd be like, give it to me right now.
I can talk myself into anything.
Yeah.
Now I might watch the morning game in Germany like from bed and maybe take a snooze at halftime.
Yeah.
And might not be like totally focusing on that. But the Jets, just don't give us the Jets in prime time anymore, please.
This is
begging you.
The last one.
With
then
tears in my eyes.
They have Black Friday game, which we will also have college football on that day, so you can at least have something else to watch.
Yeah. The Jets were not playing football last night.
No.
It was not a football game.
Memes?
No, and then I'm on. All right.
Yeah.
And
on.
then when they're playing that bad, I just don't know why they just don't give the ball to Breece Hall like a thousand times, and then they put Dalvin Cook in, who does nothing. So Breece Hall does good, put Dalvin Cook in, does absolutely nothing. They should cut him. I hate Dalvin Cook.
Oh. recurring guest.
Yeah, no, I'm done with the Dalvin Cook experiment. Just Brees Hall.
Do you think it has anything to do with maybe the grotesque offensive line he's run behind?
And the fact that they know they can't pass.
Yeah.
No, you can still get downfield. You can still run.
Yeah, you can still
You
run.
can still run.
Can
Running
you?
backs run.
That is true. Good analysis. Running backs do run. So where overall memes, final thoughts.
I think the season's over.
Okay.
Wow, that was
happened
quick.
fast.
That was really quick.
Happened fast.
They went from being the 1 seed in the NFC to season overnight.
I mean, the Zach Wilson roller coaster ride is just not.
You want to
fun.
get off. You've puked all over yourself so many times, and it's like a carny with like 3 teeth that just keeps hitting it even harder. Like, hey, you're puking? Well, I'm not letting you get off my ride.
Yeah,
That's what's happening.
it's Iowa football. You saw the punt return touchdown last night, and you're just like, all right, the game's over.
Well,
Now
no.
we have to watch.
Iowa would
Well,
never
yeah,
give up a punt return.
You're right.
Their special teams is elite.
But still, to my point, punt return touchdown, game is over, and then you just have to watch 4 quarters of
Of shit.
yeah.
At least it seemed like the game went by pretty quick last night. Did I
Yeah.
just make that up, or did
No.
it ended pretty early?
Yeah, it did. It felt like it went by the
No,
a good
that
brisk pace.
game took forever.
Oh, I thought it was fun.
No,
All right, so before we do college football, we should also mention last night, JMU.
Yes.
I don't know if you had it on your hot seat, cool throne, but I figured they deserve the
have a
beginning of
basketball
the
team?
show.
They do have a basketball team, Hank. We talked about it on Monday's show, and I said, yeah, they're playing against Michigan State. And you're like, ugh, gross. You're going to get your ass kicked. Well, it turns out it was going to be my hot seat. My hot seat was going to be Tom Izzo.
Sorry.
Back on the hot seat.
I figured JMU deserved the
they
beginning
do.
of the
They
show.
do. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I appreciate the acknowledgement for the University of Virginia, JMU. Tom Izzo, we put him on the hot seat as a take that we were squatting on, or at least I did back in 2016. I don't want to lump you guys into my bad take.
No, I think I've been like I've let's just say I haven't been pushing back.
Yes. Yeah. So it was 2016.
I don't totally agree, but I'm not like PFT. You're crazy.
It was 2016, and Tom Izzo was still very much is a great basketball coach.
Yeah.
But I knew that at some point the Final Fours weren't going to come at a rapid enough basis for people to be like, oh, Izzo is still the greatest coach in college
Right.
basketball. And so we just squatted on a take and said, Tom Izzo is overrated. We don't actually believe it now, but just wait because the conversation is going to happen. We want to be the first ones to say it. Now, I'm starting to believe it a little bit. Here's
Yeah.
some fun stats about the game last night. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Michigan State is the first top 5 team to lose its season opener against an unranked opponent since 2005. Do you know who lost that game?
Who?
It was also Michigan State,
Ooh.
who lost to Hawaii.
This is a bye game too. They paid JMU to come and play basketball.
Yeah, we cucked them.
They paid for their friends.
They cucked Tom Izzo sat in the corner and touched his tiny little penis while JMU just dunked all over his court. Was like, yeah, I like it. I like watching you do that to my court.
I feel like Tom Izzo might have a hog.
You think so? He's a little guy.
I know.
He might.
He's Italian.
I think he may.
Italian stallion.
He might have used to have a hog.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've seen him wrap his hands around his players' throats before. It looks like he's got some experience gripping wide shafts. James Madison beat them 79-76. It's Michigan State's first November home loss since 1986.
Whew.
Long time. It's also JMU's first win against a ranked opponent since 1992
Whoa.
when we beat Jason Kidd.
Oh.
I think they were ranked like number 19 in the country, and it was Lefty Drizel as our head coach at the time. It's very cool. JMU's a good team. They're a good basketball team. I think they're picked by the coaches to finish first of the Sun Belt.
Yep.
They've got some good players. I will say that Michigan State probably won't shoot as poorly as they did
1
last
for
night.
20.
1 for 20 from 3.
And 14 free throws missed.
Yeah, the first half they missed everything. The refs, by the way, and the announcers, both of them, need to-
Trying very hard to get Michigan State to win that game.
They tried so hard. They should be arrested. It should be investigated. I think that there's some funny stuff going on up in East Lansing, but they also, JMU played them tough, and I don't think Michigan State's going to play that poorly. They'll probably be fine, but if you beat the number 4 team in the country, Big Cat, in their own stadium,
yeah, you should be number 4.
you should be number 4 in the country.
Yeah, you should get to keep it.
JMU should be it's a big
You walk away with that ranking.
It's a big year for JMU sports.
And-
Not only are we, in line for a New Year's Six Bowl,
Mhm.
potentially, if the NCAA completely changes their mind about everything.
They
but
always do.
Also, we're 1-0 in basketball with a huge win, and our soccer team just beat the number 1 team in the country, UCF.
Look at that.
Duke Dogs, baby.
Duke Dogs. JMU should be the number 4 team, and Michigan State should be picked to win the Sun Belt.
Agreed.
They should be swapped. He's fully swapped.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Did you see the wild meter part of the game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Buckland, JMU assistant coach, is the nephew of Tom Izzo.
Whoa.
He
That
was
is
uncle
wild.
That is wild.
opening night.
Uncle Tom's cabin is going to be pretty empty around Thanksgiving.
Damn. Wow. Wild meter. Big time wild meter. It was great to have college basketball back. It just, when you were rattling off all that stuff about Izzo, is Tom Izzo Aaron Rodgers? And Aaron Rodgers Tom Izzo?
Yeah, I think so.
They win one early.
Mm-hmm.
Have some some success, Final Fours, NFC Championship games, win one early enough that everyone talks about you in this status, in this tier that you don't belong.
Yeah. And also it helps that he's like best friends with Coach K and Jim Boeheim.
So everyone's like, oh, Coach K and Izzo, like they just win championships. They've won 6 together.
Yeah, they go out together as a crew, and it's like between them, they've got 10 championships.
Right,
And
right.
it's
Green
just,
teams, both in the Midwest.
Yeah.
yeah, good point.
See it.
I think Izzo probably still hasn't called off practice yet. They probably stayed at the gym and practiced for about 10 hours last night. Probably has him shooting foul shots. He's gonna use this as motivation.
No, this loss was good.
They'll make a run, and I think Michigan State's going to be a pretty good team.
Yeah, so the one thing that you can go to if you're a Michigan State fan, because you obviously spent all of football season saying wait till basketball season, then basketball season started and you lost to JMU at home. The 2000 national title team lost to Wright State in the non-conference, an 11-17 Wright State. So those are the mental gymnastics you just have to do right now.
This is a good wake-up call
Yeah.
for that program.
Yeah. I think they play Duke next week at the United
Here in
Center.
Chicago,
Yeah.
I also think that now that Boeheim is in the media, he's going to be gassing up Izzo.
Did you see that one guy at the
I
Carrier
love that
Dome?
guy.
I love that guy. So there was
Yeah.
a guy at the Carrier Dome that said Syracuse alum, first game since 1975. First game back since 1975. Jim Boeheim started his coaching in 1976. He just hates Jim Boeheim.
I respect
it's
the hell
awesome.
out of it.
That's a I mean, imagine, because like the guy he was an alum, old, and like imagine holding on to a grudge knowing that he might outlive you.
Yeah.
Like Jim Boeheim might still coach and you'll be dead and you just outlived that grudge. No, that guy, that's the best moment he ever had.
And he had a necklace. The necklace with the sign on it was so good. That guy probably hates his own defense. He loves man-to-man. He's like, thank God that guy's gone. I can't watch that shit anymore.
He follows all safety protocols when driving a car, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
1-0 in the Red Autry era.
0-1 against the spread.
Sorry.
All that matters.
Sorry.
All that matters. You should win by more than 14 if you're Syracuse playing. Who'd they play?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Yeah, you should win by more than 14.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get some college football. Before we do that, a quick word from a couple of our sponsors. Simply Safe. There's never a wrong time to protect your home, but this fall happens to be an especially good time because you can get up to 50% off a brand new Simply Safe home security system. It was named the best home security of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. Simply Safe is comprehensive protection for the whole home with advanced sensors that detect break-ins, fires, floods, and more, plus HD cameras for both inside and out. It's powered by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day, half the cost of traditional home security, with new 24/7 live guard protection and smart alarm wireless indoor camera monitoring. Agents can see and speak to intruders. So Simply Safe is going to keep you safe even when you're not at home, helping stop crime in real time. A powerful technology exclusive from Simply Safe. So no one else has this. Satisfaction is backed by Simply Safe's money back guarantee. Try Simply Safe for 60 days risk-free. If you don't love it, return your system for a full refund. For a limited time, listeners can go to get a special 50% off any Simply Safe system with a Fast Protect plan. Visit simplysafe.com/PMT. That's simplysafe.com/PMT. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Make sure that you're protecting your loved ones, your home with Simply Safe. We're also brought to you by our friends at Hooters. Hooters is serving up 2 new bundles this football season. The fan favorite comes with 10 wings, fries, and a drink for $16.99 if you're with your friends or feeding a crowd. Check out the home team spread, 15 bone-in, 16 boneless, fries, buffalo chicken dip, and a pitcher of beer for $41.99. Valid at participating locations only, so check with your local Hooters. We also have a Barstool exclusive offer for Hoot Club reward members. Download the Hooters app and enter in coupon code BARSTOOL23 for $5 off your order of $15 or more. Valid at participating locations only, so check with your local Hooters. Download the Hooters app and enter Barstool23 for $5 off $15. and try the new football bundles at Hooters. Nothing better than football season. Hooters, cold beers, great wings. Go check it out right now. That Holmes team spread for $16.99, the fan favorite. It comes with 10 wings, fries, and a drink for $16.99. So go download the Hooters app, enter code BARSTOOL23 for $5 off 15, and try the new football bundles at Hooters. The big boy, the 15 bone-in, 16 boneless, fries, buffalo chicken dip, and a pitcher of beer for $41.99. Whoo, that's a whole day right there. Just watch some football. Go to Hooters. Barstool23, use that code at the Hooters app. Okay, college football. Boys, the monster is back. The monster is back.
Alabama.
We all wrote him off. The monster is officially back. Alabama is all the way back. Jalen Milroe has figured it out. He's actually been phenomenal since he got benched. It was the Texas game, then he got benched, I think, for the USF game. And now he's back. And Tommy Rees and Jalen Milroe have figured this thing out. He is playing out of this world good. 63% passing, I think, the last 5 games, 7 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, 7 rushing touchdowns on top of that. He has a stat. In the last 5 games, Jalen Milroe is 25 of 40 for passes of at least 15 air yards for 764 yards and 11 touchdowns.
Yeah, their offense is so fun to watch because I don't think they really trust him with an intermediate passing game.
No.
They just have him do like dump offs. They'll have him do wide receiver screens, bubble screens, and then they're like, you know what? Fuck it, Jalen. Just throw it deep. Because he's got a great deep ball, and he's also able to run with the ball. He ran over Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
He like put Harold Perkins in the ground.
He also made a couple plays. So Saturday night was just like pure college football ecstasy when we had LSU, Alabama, and then at the same time Washington versus USC, and it was 4 quarterbacks just playing out of their minds, like just every single minute you look back and it's either Jaden Daniels or Jalen Milroe or Michael Penix or Caleb Williams making an incredible play. But Jalen Milroe, that move he makes where he like looks like he's not going to run and then he just hits the turbos and everyone is caught standing in place. He had that one touchdown run where he rolled right and he kept his shoulders like cocked for a throw, and all the LSU players just stood in place. And then he just hit this little tiny hole for a 15-yard touchdown. It's incredible watching him play football because he was so bad in that Texas game and the start of the season. And I was at that Texas game, and Alabama fans were like, how are we going to be able to figure this out? I think our take was right from September. I think this is Nick Saban's best coaching job.
I think he would agree with that.
Because what they've done with Jalen Milroe, like his ability now, they're playing to his strengths. He's able to get outside the pocket. They're not making him a pocket passer. Alabama, I mean, it feels like destiny that they're gonna play Georgia in the SEC championship.
And they could
game.
beat Georgia. And if they beat Georgia, both of those teams get into the college football playoff, I think. Now it's going to get interesting because you can make the argument like what happens with Michigan and Ohio State, and then you got Florida State as well.
I think Michigan Ohio State's an elimination game.
You think so?
Yeah.
It depends
way,
what happens this weekend with Penn State.
The only way, if they're both undefeated in that game, the only way that it's not an elimination game is if other teams catch a couple losses. So like if Florida State loses, if Texas loses again, and Michigan beats Ohio State close, Ohio State could find a way to sneak in. Essentially what happened last year.
You know, it's going to be funny, though, because Texas has a very good possibility. They could drop an easy one to like TCU or something. But
they go to TCU, then they go to Iowa State, which would be tough.
Yeah, so it's by no means like a gimme schedule for them. But if they end up with one loss and Alabama ends up with one loss, but Alabama beat Georgia,
it's Texas.
Then Texas gets left out, even though Texas's best win is over Alabama, who has the best win over Georgia.
I think they would, as crazy as it sounds, to not have any SEC teams in the Final Four. If you had Florida State undefeated, if you had Michigan undefeated, and Texas, actually what they probably do is keep out the Pac-12. That's what they would do. They put Texas and Alabama in.
If Washington goes undefeated?
Yeah, I guess Washington could still go undefeated. Yeah, so I think they'd put Texas in over Alabama, though. You can't have, head-to-head has to count.
But yeah, it does
yeah.
To like people that make sense and think logically, but to the people that are like so invested in college football and have had Alabama around for so long as part of like this national juggernaut, I do think that if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, they would get in over Texas, even though Texas beat them.
I don't think
because
so.
Texas lost. Because you can flip that coin. This is what's so funny about these arguments is you can flip the coin and say, well, Texas lost to Oklahoma, who might stink now. Alabama's loss was to a really, really good Texas team. A Texas team so good that they might even be better than Alabama.
Yeah. The only problem is the Alabama. So right now, Texas is in front of Alabama, I believe. And yeah, I mean, the Georgia win would maybe push them. What's so funny is I love this time of year because we play out all these hypotheticals. It will all get figured out. I think there will be losses that we don't see coming that will happen. That will be like, holy shit, I guess that eliminates that team. It could be, Washington loses, then Oregon catches a loss, then Oregon beats Washington in the Pac-12 championship, something like that. Or like you said, Michigan maybe loses to Penn State, and all this is like, what are we even talking about? It's funny, though, because we go through all these hypotheticals, and the thing that I would bet on more than anything is chaos around the country, Alabama beating Georgia, and then both of them getting in.
Yeah.
We spent all season being like, but what if the SEC doesn't get anyone in?
No, that's
and
right.
then it's like, no, maybe they get two teams as always.
That's what I'm saying. I think we're going to end up with Georgia and Alabama in the Final Four. I could be wrong. I do think that Michigan is going to smoke Penn State. Sorry, Max.
It just depends on if there's undefeated teams. You can't put a one-loss team over an undefeated team. That
I agree.
just won't happen.
I agree. I think Penn State, their defense is really, really good, Max. I want to start off by paying you a compliment. Penn State's defense is as good as probably almost any team that I've seen this year. But their offense is it's Jets caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Drew Aller could be good,
point.
but I will be at Penn State, Michigan this weekend.
So that
So
means
they're
they're
definitely gonna lose.
lost.
I think that means
100%
that.
lost.
Okay. That's a point for why they're going to win?
Well, I'm due.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, but you've been due for a while. You're like 10
It's
months
also
pregnant.
the regular season. You do good there.
Yeah, that's true.
Nah, college football is different.
College football is different.
It's like every game is a playoff game in
Yeah.
college football. Are we going to miss that next year?
No, because
With the fact that there's going to be a 12-team playoff, and so if you have like two losses that would normally completely sink your season, are we going to miss how much each game means?
No, because games will still matter a lot when you have buys and home games.
Right.
And
The buys are going to be huge.
think about it, like a team like LSU with Jaden Daniels, who's having a Heisman caliber season, but his defense sucks, could still be playing for a playoff spot right now, even with 3 losses. So I think it's gonna. I know that people make the argument like, oh, it diminishes the regular season. We're just gonna shift, and the teams 8 through 12, when they have 1 or 2 losses, are gonna still be playing for a lot. Like Penn State would still be playing for them to get in the college football playoff. Oklahoma would somehow still be alive on an outside chance. Like all these teams would still have a chance. So I think it will be better.
It's going to make
Arizona should get a talk. Arizona's been awesome.
It's going to make it more like a normal sport, where like you're allowed to lose a game occasionally, and
Correct.
it doesn't mean that you suck.
But I still think the importance of like the not catching that second loss will still be very, very important because of buys and home field. If they figure it out, I can't remember what the setup is. I think it's the first round goes home field, so that will like the difference between 1 loss and 2 losses could be a home game versus not, which it matters greatly in college football home games.
Yeah.
So I think it will still be fun. I wish we had a 12-team playoff this year because there is a ton of parity. The craziest thing about Alabama, and if you go by this theory, which makes sense, you look at basically Ari Wasserman, who works at the Athletic. It's a very common sense theory, but he actually put a tag to it a few years ago. And so once you put a good name on it, it basically it becomes mainstream. The stars matter theory, which makes perfect sense. Like having good players matter. And if you look at the recruiting profile of national title teams, it's essentially like you have to be at a certain threshold to win a national title. You have to have the dudes to win a national title. And the only 3 teams that are in that like upper echelon are Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama. So you just let Alabama, who could very well win a national title with the dudes they have, back into the conversation.
Dudes matter.
Stars matter. Dudes matter.
I like calling
Michigan obviously is
like
very
dudes
good
matter.
profile.
Fight back against toxic femininity out there.
Yeah, but that's it's one like it's the TCU last year. TCU had an incredible run, but if you look at their recruiting profile, it's like there's no chance they can beat Georgia.
Yeah.
And there was no chance
They were
they could beat
they were
Georgia.
completely outsized. They shouldn't have beaten Michigan.
Yeah.
But the coaching matters too, Big Cat.
Yeah.
That's the one thing.
Stealing signs matter. So let's talk about that. The latest update on Connor Stallions. He quit, resigned.
Yeah, he resigned.
Ride or die guy. I think there's never been a guy that I'm more sure that will not snitch than Connor Stallions.
Kept his mouth shut.
Now we're in a weird spot where the Big Ten, and as a member of the Big Ten, I can say this, are being a bunch of crybabies. So Michigan did cheat. They probably should get some kind of, suspension or something. But this whole anonymous meetings of all the Big Ten coaches and ADs and being like Jim Harbaugh should be disbanded, that's fucking crybaby shit. You haven't beaten him in 2 years. Don't put your name on it. You know what I mean? If you want to say that Jim Harbaugh should not be coaching right now, put your name on it. Don't do the anonymous source shit. A coach should come out and say he should not be coaching right now, because then I think all coaches are probably scared, because then they open up Pandora's box of what are they doing in the gray area. So anytime there's all the teams met and we don't have anyone on record, but they all think that Michigan should never play football again. Shut up.
And I love
babies.
I love all the extra wrinkles that are coming out about how people are speculating that's Ryan Day's brother, who's a CIA member who was in charge of the investigation.
4th and 1 investigations.
And apparently whoever, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
4th and 1 investigations.
I think it's 4th and 1 private investigation.
Is his entire law firm just based around of drawing those lines on the field to see whether or not Michigan made a first down in that one Thanksgiving Day game?
4th and 1 investigations and Protective Agency LLC.
I love that. So all the conspiracies around that are just so perfect. There are people saying that there's now been alleged computer crimes committed.
Yes.
So whoever was in charge of the investigation illegally accessed some of Michigan's school records, it would be so perfect if they committed an actual crime in order to set up Michigan, or uncover a fake crime, a college football crime that Michigan was doing, and then somebody ended up having to go to jail for a federal data security crime, and got Jim Harbaugh fired, which college football fans are so crazy they'd probably take that deal.
Yeah.
It's I'll do 2 years.
Yeah.
Send me off to
Connor Stallions would do life in prison if it meant Michigan won a national title.
The problem I have with Connor Stallions, and this is where it starts to get fishy for me, he is a big OPSEC guy, right? He knows about espionage, he knows about sign stealing, covert operations. Why did he put his name on all these transactions? Why did he put his name on the ticket purchases, knowing that he was on record as being on the Michigan staff? Something with that is a little bit fishy. That doesn't add up to me for him. Is it actually Jim Harbaugh and he made up Connor Stallions?
Listen, that's what this entire investigation is going to come down to, is if they can find proof that Jim Harbaugh knew, because that's really all. Michigan is now being hey, yeah, Connor Stallions acted alone. Yeah, that's our defense. And it is funny because the NCAA changed their bylaws. I can't remember. It was a few years ago, where they basically make every college football team, they can prosecute them under the RICO Act, where it's no college football coach can say, well, I didn't know. They basically if he's employed, you knew. Mm-hmm. But that's what they're going to have to try to prove.
Yeah,
they're going to have to show how Jim Harbaugh knew. Otherwise, they'll give him a slap on the wrist and Connor Stallions will be gone, and then Michigan be like, well, yeah, we didn't know he acted alone.
So if you're the Big Ten, actually, if you're Michigan, people complaining oh, Michigan's holding up this entire investigation, what do you expect them to do? Do you expect Michigan to be okay, we're going to come clean, here's everything that we knew and how we knew it? No, you're going to drag your feet because you're going to be competing for a national championship. So you don't want anything to come out in the next couple of weeks. You're going to be putting off meetings left and right. You're going to be changing calendar invites, saying, "Oh, sorry, I didn't get that. I thought it was in Central Time, not Eastern Time." They're going to be absolutely holding this investigation up because the Big Ten, they do have all the power. So the Big Ten could have said, "We're going to let the NCAA handle this, and we're going to put it in their court." But the Big Ten is investigating, and they are the ones that could do something about it if they found something. But also, if you're the Big Ten,
you wouldn't.
And why would you? Because you've got a team with a chance to go to a natty, and then you all get money.
Correct.
You know what?
You can't if you're
the Big Ten should be investigated under the RICO Act.
You can't if you're the Big Ten. Be like, oh, Michigan's not playing the Big Ten championship, or Michigan doesn't. The rest of their season doesn't count. You just signed these huge TV deals, and Michigan is very important to those TV deals. So I think they're just going to keep passing the buck, being like, no, NCAA, you figure it out. All right, NCAA, you take forever. What's going to end up happening is Michigan's going to play the whole season. Nothing's going to happen. Like a year from now, they're going to be like, oh, Michigan, like you can't have like 10. We're taking away 10 recruits.
Yeah, and then Harbaugh's going to be gone.
Yeah. And then we'll all be like, okay, well, I guess that's how it's settled.
I love that Michigan is now becoming big due process guys.
Yeah.
Like, let's wait for due process. We all get due process. Jim Harbaugh is going to get into, like, the sovereign citizen movement and be like, this, I don't have to say a word, lawyer.
Yeah.
That's all you're going to say. Shut the fuck up Fridays, lawyer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's all you got. Like, Michigan can very easily get away with it this year, and then who knows what happens in the future.
Yeah, they want to win a national title this year.
What they can prove. But if they win a national champ, that is, I think, my dream scenario. Is that Michigan wins the national title, and then for the next 100 years.
Yeah, we strip it, we make fun of it, but Michigan fans are like, but flags fly forever.
But those wins didn't happen.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
And then we get into like a big court battle over whether or not they're allowed to actually have a national championship banner in their stadium.
Yeah, all the, like, J.J. McCarthy's not allowed back on campus.
The stats didn't
Chris
count.
Webber's situation. Yeah, all that stuff. All right, a couple other things we got to touch on. Bedlam was awesome. I'm happy for Oklahoma State. Having Oklahoma leave and the rivalry be done, you had to win that last game. The non-PI call was hilarious because I have no problem if Big 12 officials were like, yeah, fuck them. And what did they play? They played some Taylor Swift after. I think it was
We're never getting back together. Yeah.
So I'm happy for Oklahoma State. That was great. They're playing good football. They could easily be in the Big 12 championship game. So I'm happy for Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy. You have to win your last game if your rival's leaving you for greener pastures.
I agree. Mike Gundy has a great setup in Stillwater too.
Oh yeah,
he's. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago with Penn State of how if you're not ever really going to be the point where you're going to win a national championship, like carve yourself out a nice little niche and be happy with it. And Mike Gundy has been a great coach for. When was the I'm 40, I'm a man speech? That was 2007?
It was like 10, 15 years ago.
It was so long ago. And he's got seasons where he flashes, where you talk about their offense. This year, it's not their offense, really. Their defense has been...
Well, their running back, Ollie, he's one of the best. He missed like the first few games. He's incredible. He's gotten into a dark horse Heisman, which I think the Heisman, by the way, now that Jaden Daniels lost to Alabama and he's been playing phenomenal, his defense shouldn't count against him. I think the Heisman is going to just come down to if Oregon and Washington play in the Pac-12 championship game, Bo Nix or Michael Penix, who plays better. And it would be so awesome if Bo Nix won the Heisman.
So
after the meme.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be full circle. Bo Nix just, I think it was last week, hit the most college football games played as a quarterback.
You know what would be great about it? It would be so perfect because we would get two separate Bo Nix for Heisman campaigns in the same year.
Yeah.
And it feels like we've had those for the past 5 years.
And now he gets
two.
longer.
Now he gets two in the last one.
But it does feel like the winner, unless Marvin Harrison Jr. like puts up 300 yards and 5 touchdowns against Michigan. Maserati Marv. I think that it will come down to those two guys playing head to head and who wins.
Jaden Daniels, by the way, with the LSU loss, I almost want to upgrade LSU in my personal rankings for that loss because they were right in the game when he was playing, and he gets knocked out. That's a great trade if you're Alabama, and if you're an LSU fan, you're like, hey, you remember Devin White? You remember what happened with that?
Yeah,
a little reciprocity here.
Yeah,
but the way LSU played before their quarterback got knocked out, like you could make the argument that they deserve to at least hold firm in the standings.
Yes, I'd agree. All right, last two things I had. Lincoln Riley finally decided that whatever blackmail Alex Grinch has on him is not worth it. So he got fired.
Yeah.
Alex Grinch, one of the most confusing defensive coordinator jobs for, it feels like forever we've been talking about him. He finally got fired because that was pathetic. USC and their tackling and just guys, and like every single time Michael Penix dropped back, there was a guy wide open.
They don't tackle.
They do not tackle. Caleb Williams, people were getting on him for crying. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with crying.
Cry. Why not?
Crying's not bad.
Yeah. I'd cry if I had that defense too.
You're allowed to cry 2 times. You're allowed to cry if you lose a big game because it shows that you are committed to your teammates, and you're allowed to cry during the national anthem.
Not before the Super Bowl if you lose.
Retroactively.
Yeah,
yes.
retroactively don't do that.
So, I was listening to the Andy Staples show earlier this week, and he was talking about how it would be a good thing for Grinch to get fired. Like, it would have been a good thing for Grinch to lose his job in the offseason even because the way that Lincoln Riley runs their practices, they don't allow tackling.
Yeah.
Like maybe once a week they'll do some live drills, but their defense doesn't practice tackling ever. And if you go to a different program with a different coach that gives a shit about defense, like Georgia, for example, he said, like most big programs, they will allow you to tackle in practice.
Well, it's a theme that we've seen a lot with air raid offense. The defenses usually struggle because in practice, the air raid offense is just fucking ripping them apart, and they never get to practice against, like, they never get to actually practice fundamentals. They're just trying to catch up.
You can get all the like $100,000 tackling dummies that you want that have wheels on the bottom and like robot antennas that move around, but you should actually practice tackling.
Yeah. Last thing I had, and he is a friend of the show, but people get upset when we don't criticize our friends. I will do it right now. I thought Deion putting Pat Shurmur as the offensive coordinator was a crazy move.
Yeah.
And I know Sean Lewis is a friend and he went to Wisconsin, but Sean Lewis was not the problem with Colorado. And it felt like Deion is like trying to press panic buttons left and right. And they kind of did Sean Lewis pretty dirty. And Pat Shurmur's a bad coach. And they went in that game against Oregon State. They had 3 points and 78 yards through 3 quarters. That offense was not Sean Lewis's fault. Like the Colorado's problems was not Sean Lewis's fault.
It was that bottom line was very deceiving in that game because Colorado was never in it.
No, and they scored at the end. But yeah, that was not Sean Lewis got done dirty. He was not the problem. Their offensive line is not great. Their defense has struggled. Like Sean Lewis was very low on the list of issues with Colorado. And it felt like Deion just needed someone to blame, and that sucks because I don't think that was the right move. I thought that was a shitty move by Deion.
Pat Shurmur is the all-time. People forget that he was head coach of the New York Giants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Browns. Really bad head coach.
Very bad head coach.
Really bad head coach.
Deion's going to get bigger dudes, though. Once he gets bigger dudes, I think Colorado will be good. I think they'll even improve on this season and then some next year. But now they were a nice story to start the year.
Yeah,
because no one really saw it coming. But they're not built to win this year.
I think Shedeur should go pro. I think Deion will have problems getting bigger dudes who have to block for his son. It's a weird dynamic. You have to at least admit that it's a weird dynamic for the head coach to openly trash his offensive line who's blocking for his son.
He also trashed his son, though.
Yeah, he did.
He said we had a lot of problems offensive line, including the quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm still bullish on Deion, like, long term. I just thought that one move was a panic move that made Sean Lewis look bad and look like the failure here when it's way bigger than that. And they probably, the success they had early, how everyone talked about them, ourselves included, doesn't help with them coming back down to earth.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't want to get called out by Deion.
Right.
We were very transparent about that.
Right.
We picked them to win every game this season.
And I'll tell Deion that I don't think he should have had Pat Shurmur call plays. I'll text him that. Hope he doesn't see it.
Did they find the stuff that was stolen at the Rose Bowl?
What was stolen?
Oh,
yes, they did. They did.
They did? Okay, good.
They did. They found it.
This is a recurring thing for Deion.
Yeah,
he gets a lot of stuff stolen.
Well, he's got swag.
Maybe change your security, Deion.
He's got swag. He also, all right, here's one positive for Deion. Ditch the sunglasses.
Yep.
So he's listening.
Yep.
Smart move.
Oh, Arthur Smith also shaved the mustache.
Smart move.
Smart move at this
Smart
point.
move.
Yep.
You got to minimize the mistakes that you're putting out there with sunglasses and mustaches. All right, let's do Hot Seat Cool Throne. It's brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. Hot Seat Cool Throne, always brought to you by Coors Light. Fall doesn't have to be a buzzkill. Coors Light helps you find moments to unwind. Big work presentation, follow it with a happy hour, some friends, and a cold Coors Light. Weekend chores, take Saturday off and hit the tailgate, even if you don't have tickets to the game. Whenever you need to hit reset, reach for a Coors Light. It's made to chill. There's only one beer out there that's literally made to chill, and that's Coors Light. The mountains on the bottles and cans even turn blue when your beer is cold. That way you always know when it's time to chill. We need to hit reset. Just open a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment made to chill. We love Coors Light. It is the best beer in the world, the coldest beer in the world. Coors Light is perfect for football season, perfect for tailgate season. Coors Light is the one we choose when we need to unwind, maybe hit that Friday afternoon, weekend time, sit on the couch, unwind with a Coors Light. So when you want to hit the reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/take. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Coors Light, the best beer out there. Hot Seat Cool Throne brought to you by Coors Light. Hank,
Hot seat is myself.
Oh, why's that?
After the Patriots-Commanders game, the Patriots lost. I knew I had to do a presentation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I wanted to get started early. I had some, thoughts in my mind. I wanted to put pen to paper via laptop. So I
You want to put finger to button? Max.
Shout out Max. Couldn't find my laptop. Searched all around Sunday. Just couldn't find it. I walked around 100 times. You guys probably saw me just coming in, looking underneath things, trying to find it, trying to retrace my steps. Knew I had it here. Find my iPhone. Had it here. Every time I've left the office, it said, you've left your laptop behind. So I knew it was in the facility. Couldn't find it. Slept on it. Said I'll come back tomorrow stronger, better, faster, hungrier. Find it Monday.
Nope.
Spent all day Monday. I was losing my mind.
Question.
PFT.
Earlier this fall, you said that you're going to be all work during the fall. You weren't going to be golfing, no time off.
I'm living at the office.
You'll be working all the time.
Office,
yep.
Yeah.
And you haven't had your laptop for how long?
It was last seen on Thursday.
Yeah. So
I had calls. I had meetings yesterday that I did at my home because I have a PC there, but I did it, and then I came in.
I thought you were going to be living at the office though.
I had to do these calls. I didn't want to do them.
Well,
on
your
my
computer
phone.
was at the office.
I couldn't find it. I could not find it.
So you lost your computer for 7 days.
No.
And you are the
couple
CEO
days.
of this company.
I lost my computer for a couple days. The weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as we know. And then it's basically one day. I lost my computer for one day, Monday. And then I came in super early to find it so I could do this presentation. I have a good outline. I have some thought starters. I needed to, put it together.
Can I see the outline?
No, we'll save it for Friday.
No,
It's
because
not
he doesn't
ready.
have an outline.
I have
he
a
doesn't
Google
have an
Doc.
outline.
He does have an outline.
I do.
So Hank, I'm disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Well, I did have the chance. I could have, Billied it and just thrown something together. I had about 20 minutes, and I could have thrown something together and done a half-ass effort. But I have this long. I have links. I have works cited.
Who farted?
I think that was my shoe.
I think Hank just farted.
No, that was my shoe.
Did you hear that, Jake?
I did not, but I know we're clear because our mics were off, so it feels good.
Yeah.
That was a fart.
That was a fart.
That
Hank
was a
just
nervous
farted.
fart.
Yeah.
He's a nervous fart.
Now, Hank, did you do this outline or did you outsource it to somebody else like you did with the original presentation?
I mean, I have collaborators, esteemed colleagues that I work with, just like any good,
Oh, also, Hank,
educational.
point of order. In your Twitter bio right now, what does it say? Because part of the agreement was you were going to change it to acknowledge the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse.
I did.
No, you didn't. You put hater ass.
The Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is the tallest lighthouse in the continental U.S.
You spelled it hater ass. You are a hater ass.
How do you spell Hatteras?
There's just one S.
No, keep it out.
It's funny because people thought Hank did that on purpose, but he definitely did not.
No, 100% didn't.
He thought obgyn was a word like 2 years ago.
I mean, again, like, why would you? I'm not a female. I would never gone to the fucking OBGYN. How is that something I would know about?
Have you ever seen a vagina?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you obviously don't know much about them.
But at what point in your life did you learn that OBGYN was OBGYN? Like, what?
I don't know, when I was like 10 or
life
11.
event? Why?
Because you just know things. You grow up and you learn things.
Mm-hmm.
When would you have learned that? At
And
what point were they
talk
like,
to a
hey,
girl and she's like, oh, I have to go to my OBGYN
Get
appointment.
my obgyn.
a 10-year-old?
No, not when I'm 10. But
That's what you said. You
at-
just said that. You
at-
said I learned when I was 10.
Yeah, you did
because
say
you hear
learned when you were
words.
10.
Because you hear. Sorry, I got down early.
That's disgusting.
Put it on the bonk list. That's gross.
Yeah. And like, again, I don't know. You got down, then she was like, I have to go to the doctor now.
No, obviously I heard that word when I was 10, and I found out. A few
Where
years
did
later.
you hear it? Why
I
would
don't-
you hear that?
I don't know. Because life happens.
That's early. I'm gonna step in here. That's early to learn that word.
You learn life happens.
Well, I'm learning new things every day, and the listeners and you guys will learn a lot on Friday.
Okay, Friday. You're gonna have it.
Gonna get
You
that on
have your
Friday. I found my
computer.
laptop. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in a desk that I walked by maybe 100 times.
Yeah.
Good. Hot start. All right.
And then my cool throne is the Cubs.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
cool throw. But go ahead.
Well, I did it first.
Yeah.
A lot of manager, musical chairs going on. I don't really know what's going on. I don't know why Craig Counsell is like the greatest manager of all time, but Mets fans were really upset that they didn't sign Craig Counsell, and then the Cubs did sign Craig Counsell, which caused the Brewers to basically disown him.
Oh yeah, the Brewers owner had a real
said,
hissy fit.
We've lost Craig, but I've reflected on this. Craig has lost us and lost our community.
We lost the community.
What makes Craig Counsell this messiah of a manager?
Craig Counsell's a good manager. He's a very good manager. The Brewers don't spend a lot of money, and he's had them competitive every single year. I'm very excited because I'm sad about David Ross. It feels very reminiscent of when Ricky Renteria got fired for Joe Madden right when the Cubs were like, all right, we're going to start winning. And I love David Ross, and it sucked because obviously he probably found out a different way, but I don't think I've ever seen a announcement of a hiring of a manager when you never got the announcement of a firing of a manager. It was literally Jeff Passan was like, Craig Counsell's going to the Cubs, and then didn't say like David Ross is fired. I had to wait for like an hour, and Dan Dockich reported breaking news. I'm hearing David Ross is out.
My ass.
Yeah. So it was a very confusing moment.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was it was like stunning because I know David Ross was on a warm seat with how the Cubs finished.
Well, they said earlier this season that he was not going to be fired, right?
Right.
But that was before the collapse.
But here's why I like it. So Craig Counsell's a very good manager. I also think this is the sign that the Cubs are ready to start spending and start competing for World Series again, because you're not Craig Counsell. If you're Craig Counsell, you don't go to the Cubs, your rival. Craig Counsell's from Wisconsin. You don't go there unless you have a deal in place from Jed and Tom Ricketts being like, hey, we're going for this. Like, this is the start. And they're also paying him $8 million a year, which is a lot of money. I think
that is pretty
might
good.
Be the highest paid manager. So this is good. I feel good. I'm excited. I'm sad for David Ross, but I'm very excited about the future of the Cubs because it does feel like the sign of, hey, we're now going to take this seriously. No more like half-ass rebuilding. Like, let's go spend some money. Let's get some really good players. Craig Counsell is a very good manager. I'm excited. Cubs are back.
Is that basically that's the end of the World Series team?
We have a couple left.
Is Hendricks still on the team?
Hendricks is on the team.
That's always sad when it's like,
yeah,
the whole team is gone.
Ian Happ, I believe, I don't know if he played. He was in the organization. Yeah, no, it's sad. But Hendricks, I love Hendricks, the professor. Yeah, Happ made his debut the year after. So yeah, it's sad. But yeah, Craig Counsell and the Cubs are going to spend money, big time. Going to be exciting.
So I want to touch on something we mentioned on Monday's show because we were a week early on Wisconsin deer season.
Yeah.
In terms of hunting. Found out an interesting fact today. Did you know that Wisconsin has so many hunters and so many guns that the state of Wisconsin is the 8th largest army in the world, technically?
Ooh.
I respect that.
I respect the fuck
I
out
respect
of
that a lot.
Also, the deers, like people who are anti-hunter, if you drive in rural Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and you said like, hey, no one can kill a deer, the deers would kill all of us on the highway.
Yeah.
There's so many fucking deer.
Yeah. And I love it when cars just drive down the road with deers just strapped to the hood
Oh,
of
yeah.
them.
Oh, yeah.
It's good food.
Yeah. Next weekend. Or this weekend.
This weekend. Yeah.
No, next weekend.
Wait, I got to pull it up right here. It is
Next weekend.
next weekend.
Next weekend, because I have friends who are doing it. So
Well, if you're disabled, you're allowed to hunt early.
there you go.
And kids.
And kids.
Kids can hunt early.
And I think you only get one.
Is that the rule? You just
there's
get one deer per season?
there's like it might be more than one, but they definitely, you can't just go out and just start like killing like 150 deer.
What if they just made it you can kill a deer any day of the year if you use your bare hands?
I like that. I like that
Just
a lot.
choke it out.
I like that a lot.
My hot seat was Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
Tom Izzo's on the hot seat, as we discussed earlier. My cool throne is orcas. And orcas are also back. There's a new pod of orcas that are attacking off the, I guess it's the Strait of Gibraltar, so in between Spain and Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
A new pod of orcas spent like 8 hours going after this yacht and sunk the yacht themselves, just
Fuck
straight up
yes.
attacked it. Yeah.
You're a whale guy.
No, not orcas. I don't like orcas.
Well, yeah, we know
Disavow?
your stance on Jim Irsay.
Mm-hmm.
Orcas are killer. It's not their fault. Tillicum fucked up the whole squad, but orcas are bad.
What about Tokate?
Wow.
You were heartbroken
Damn.
when Tokate died.
Was Tokate the Irsay one?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sad that a human got involved and basically stressed a whale to
But
death.
actually,
But it was an orca, so who really gives a fuck?
Yeah, you actually Chokotay dying might have saved some lives because he would have gone out into the water and just started killing people.
That's true.
Yeah.
But respect to these orcas that are over in Europe just taking out yachts. I think it was a Polish cruise
That's sick.
that it took out. So yeah, they repeatedly hit the yacht's rudder, causing major damage.
Any deaths?
No, they got all the people off.
That's why we can laugh about
right
it.
before it sank.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. I don't want to fuck with orcas. I want the orcas to know, because they do listen to podcasts, that I am on their side and I am a friend of the whale.
This feels like a Polish joke. The Polish Navy got taken down by an orca.
By an orca. The screen door submarines.
Yeah. Okay.
Polacks.
Cool.
You think
what?
I am obsessed with whales. I think about them often. What about like a show, like if you could translate, because whales speak to each other,
Yeah.
and like a reality show
Oh, like Real Housewives of the Mediterranean.
orcas?
of the Strait of Gibraltar.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that Prairie Dog show or whatever the one in Africa is.
Yeah, like imagine seeing them like plan that and then take it down.
It'd be sick. Yeah.
That would be sick.
Let's do it.
Something to think about. Don't steal my idea.
How would you translate
Okay,
what
I
they
won't.
say? Would you just completely make it up?
I'm just gonna say right now, I want it on record. I'm not gonna steal his idea of making a Real Housewives of orcas.
Of the Strait of Gibraltar.
No, I'm not gonna give you the Strait of Gibraltar. I might make another reality show off the Strait of Gibraltar.
People can. That's the technology. I don't know if there is a whale translator out there.
There's not.
Someone that speaks
Connor
fluent whale.
Stallions probably could.
Yeah, give him enough time.
But you could
mean,
probably
he
put it together
Oh,
with
that-
subtitles.
Stop myself from making a joke. Connor Stallions did steal signs from Brett Bielema.
That's what. Yep. What does he have in common with the whale?
When we were at Wisconsin, when we were in Madison for Ohio State, they have like a tunnel with all the former coaches. Brett looked good back in the day.
Yeah,
He looked good.
he's
He's
still
actually think he's lost a little weight.
he's still a powerful man.
Yeah. Okay.
Hank, I do like your idea though, but
Yeah.
we just need to. You could just do it and fake it, and
Yeah.
just pretend that you know what they're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go sing this boat. I fucking hate the Polish.
All right. That was your cool throne.
That's my cool throne because again,
Yeah.
Tom Izzo
Yes.
is on the hot
Yes.
seat,
Yes.
and also cool throne letter writing. Jamie, you also wrote a strongly worded letter to the
Should have done
NCAA.
notes app.
This is like the 5th strongly worded letter that I've seen float around out there. This is going to be the one that gets it done though, because it's more strongly worded than the ones in the past. So yeah, they're on a letter writing hot streak down there. The Ted Kaczynskis of Central Virginia.
Yes. Okay. My hot seat is me for two things. One, I'd like to make a correction on Monday. I said Jedrick Wills is a star offensive lineman. That is my fault because he was drafted in the top 10, and that's hard to get out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So my bad.
You're still a star.
You're still a
Top
star.
10.
And
Top
also
10.
his name's cool. I was just like, yeah.
He's a lottery pick.
Guess what? Depth issues now.
Yep.
So he could have been a star depth-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other hot seat for myself is my parenting. Quick story time. On Monday mornings, I take my son to school every day, and on Monday mornings, we have a conversation of whether or not the Bears won or lost. And so I was getting sick of telling him every Monday we get in the car. He's like, "Did the Bears win or lose?" And I got sick of telling him that they lost. So on Monday morning, I explained to him that they lost, but they actually kind of won because they're
draft pick.
trying to lose.
Yeah.
And because he gets really excited because his teacher's a Bears fan, so he goes and tells his teacher like when the 2 times they've won, he's been able to go tell him like the Bears team won.
Mm-hmm.
Flash forward Monday night, I'm putting him to bed, and I was like, "What'd you learn at school today?" And he was like, "The Bears team lost, but that's actually good."
Yeah.
So I am now raising a loser.
It's good parenting.
The fact that he was able to conceptualize tanking that quickly is not good for the future of our relationship and his sports fandom. But he got it. He got it right away. It was 12 hours later, and he was like, "The Bears lost, but it's good."
He's going to watch Trent Dilfer explain how you cannot lose and still win and be very confused. He'd be like, that guy's full of shit.
I realized it last night. I was like, "God damn it, I'm raising a loser."
Yeah.
Like we've accepted losing in this household.
We're
okay with losing.
He's going to learn about the Revolutionary War and be like, well, at least England got a good draft pick.
Yeah, fuck. What was the tank guy? What was your process guy? What was his name?
Memes didn't want to click the fucking button there.
Oh, he doesn't know it either.
No, he
No,
did.
he just
Sam
cut off.
Hinkie.
He cut
Cut
you
you
off.
off.
Sam
His
Hinkie.
Sam Hinkie. I was thinking Sam Presti, but that's Oklahoma City. So yeah, I'm raising a little Sam Hinkie in my house. So hot seat me, I got to reevaluate that. But the
That's
Cubs
great.
are back. The
Sam,
Cubs are back.
Sam Hinkie drafted an MVP,
Also true. Maybe did he draft
player of the week.
a player of the week? That might have been after. Tyrese Maxey was probably drafted after. He got the picks to get
Memes
Tyrese
is just
Maxey.
fucking with me now. But also Jason Tatum won Conference Player of the Week last week. So,
No longer.
so
Max, congrats on the third quarter of the week by Joel Embiid last night.
yeah,
That was an insane quarter. That was maybe the quarter of the month.
Sixers
Quarter of the
are
month.
Sixers. I'm back in on the Sixers. Nick Nurse is a guy.
Oh, okay.
He is a guy.
This will end well.
No, Sixers are good.
Clip that memes. That will be a nice start to the montage when the Sixers lose to the Celtics in the playoffs.
I do agree, though, that Max, we should give you some credit here because you do have the same guys as last year, essentially, but you upgraded majorly at the head coach.
Yeah.
Like huge upgrade.
And in the locker room, Pat, you lost Harden, brought in Pat Bev.
Yeah.
That's a locker room upgrade for sure.
By the way, speaking of losing, all-time insult stat. Everyone should be following Jay Cuda online, Jaycuda. He's very, very funny. Does great graphics. He did a graphic, the cities with 4+ sports teams, and it's their combined overall against 500 since the start of 2022. And there are only 2 cities that are all red, which means under 500 collectively, and it is Chicago and Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Good for us. Good for us.
You can't laugh at that. You can't laugh at that. That's our joke. Don't laugh at that.
My teams are above 500.
Not the Flyers.
We know
not
that,
the Flyers.
That's why you're
I
not
don't
allowed
give
to
a
laugh
fuck
at it,
about
Max.
the Flyers.
The only city with all 4 teams above 500.
Colorado,
Nope.
Texas.
Minnesota.
Wow.
Minnesota.
That's a
Twins,
huge
T-Wolves,
come up.
Vikings, Wild. All
good
above
for them.
500. Yeah. You okay? What was
I
that?
thought Colorado was a good guess.
Colorado.
Do they not have
Did
a
you
four?
forget about the
Denver,
Broncos?
The
Yeah.
Rockies, and you forgot about the Rockies.
forgot
who
about
are
half of
very
them.
bad.
That was a
Yeah,
guess.
half
The
of
Rockies
them.
was a hope.
Half
Yeah.
of them. Yeah. My cool throne is coffee drinkers because we got new Stella Blue flavors out now. We had some fall flavors. Now we have some Christmas holiday flavors. We have gingerbread and we have butter cookie. Both very, very good. I tested all of them, fine-tuned it. Go buy it, StellaBlueCoffee.com. They are delicious. There's nothing better than a nice warm cup of butter cookie sitting by the fire, sitting by the tree, sitting by wherever, maybe outdoors, crackling fire, some gingerbread. So go buy it right now. They are very, very good. And some new mugs in the store as well. Jake, finish us off.
My hot seat is Jimmy Clausen, former quarterback.
Yeah.
Cam Newton came out with a story saying that he initially wanted to wear number 2. That was his college number. So he asked Jimmy Clausen for it. Jimmy Clausen said, all right, that'll cost you $1 million. Thought he was kidding. Clausen said, all right, I'll do it for a lower tag of $750,000. Cam Newton hangs up the phone, calls the equipment manager, says he's going to wear number 1. And he told himself that'll be the last time Jimmy Clausen will ever be heard of in Carolina. And he was correct.
I respect that move by Jimmy Clausen because he knew that he was bad and he was going to lose his job. And Jimmy Clausen, I don't know what his career earnings are. I'm looking them up right now. He's made $5 million.
Could have
in
been
the NFL.
6 if he
so that would have been
got
like
that deal done.
that would have been he needed that extra $1 million.
That's just an insane ask. I think that if you say $50K, Cam Newton probably pays it.
Yeah,
He'll
Oh,
give
for
him a
sure, for
friendly
sure.
discount of
Yeah.
$750K.
because what was Cam Newton's signing bonus?
It's big, but yeah, insane. Jimmy Clausen definitely didn't play that correctly.
Insane. My cool throne, plug God, the Barstool Sports Invitational.
Yes.
It is game day if you're listening on Wednesday. Huge doubleheader on Barstool.tv.
This is the Barstool Sports Invitational.
It's pretty remarkable being in this venue right here. 2 legit Division I teams. How could you ever dream it'd be possible? You can't really.
Caleb and Roan, Jersey Jerry's doing the mop duty. It's going to be Barstool soup to nuts.
Nice move, big man. Nice move. Oh, this guy's Michael Jordan. Watch this. Corner park stand. Tie game. Wow, thank you.
That was, the game was blown. Was on their feet like it was game 7 of the NBA Finals. Oh my God. Unbelievable.
The returning Final Four team FAU, hometown team Loyola Chicago, in a power conference matchup. 2 tournament teams from last year. Arizona State, Mississippi State. Big Cat and I will be in the booth with Dave Portnoy. We have tons of great coverage coming your way.
Sister Jean.
Sister
Jean will be in attendance.
Yes.
I might be in Sister Jean's box.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get in her box.
You should watch the game with Sister Jean.
Yeah, I would
See if
love
we get
to.
you a mic and get a one-on-one. If you're in Chicago, Wintrust, there's still tickets available. It's going to be a great time. Everyone's going to be out there. If you are not in Chicago, barstool.tv, you can watch all the action. Nothing better than a little college basketball on a Wednesday night.
Also, not my words, from Ken Pom, the 2 best games of college basketball are the Barstool Sports Invitational today.
Wow.
Fuck yeah.
He ranks the thrill score, like
Yeah.
how exciting each game is. Number 1, number 2 are our games. So.
For some reason, I'm just like really, really into this college basketball year.
Yeah, I wonder why.
So far,
Yeah.
one day in, I've never been this excited.
We had the Loyola guys here on Monday, and the big guy, the 2 guards,
Tom
and a
Welch,
big
the
guy,
big guy.
Tom Welch. I'm gonna need your notes, by the way, Jake,
Yeah, I'm sending
in the
them
next couple days,
Yep.
or actually now.
Finishing them. Yep.
The guards were like, "Hey, you want to dunk?" And he's like, "I don't think I can." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that our rims are like 11 feet tall."
Yeah, thanks a lot, Hank.
Yeah, they're a solid 10-4, pretty close.
I think it's 10-6.
Pete said he checked yesterday. They're 10-1.
No
I heard
way.
10, I heard
The
10
players
6.
noticed right away.
They
I
noticed
noticed right away.
instantly.
I'm a player.
Instantly.
Do you trust Pete?
I'm just saying.
Think about that. He didn't have Wi-Fi working in an office that runs the internet for about 6 years.
He was big fired up yesterday. He also, what he brought out was this little, I don't even know what it was. It was like a laser that like, he was like, that's the top of the rim. You're seeing it. It says 10-1.
Yeah, he's.
I don't trust him.
He's a liar.
Got to measure from the base all the way down at the base.
Yes.
And guys, my other cool throne.
Oh, 2.
Yes.
All right, let's go, Jake.
Double trouble.
Double trouble.
It is drama.
Uh-oh.
Drama in the NWSL.
Uh-huh.
Guys, this season's been so dramatic that even Nike submitted this season for a Golden Globe.
Okay, so
Wait, what?
my only thing about the NWSL, if Rose Lavelle has 1 million fans,
Badger.
then I'm one of them.
Badger.
If she has no fans, then I am dead.
Mm-hmm.
And if the world is against Rose Lavelle, then it's me against the world. So
She's our
on
queen.
She's on the OL Reign, right?
She's our recurring guest, Badger, best player in the world.
Yes, so the championship game is on CBS this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Megan Rapinoe, swan song.
And she's on Roosevelt's team.
Sure is.
Let's go.
How can you not be rooting for them?
Rose Lavelle.
Mm-hmm.
All
Dominant.
right. So what time is it?
8 p.m. Eastern on CBS.
Saturday.
And
Love
there's
it.
so much drama. It's a Golden Globe.
Nike's putting it up for a Golden Globe.
They should win.
Wow. Okay.
They should win.
Agreed.
Okay.
This
Good
league.
job. Good job, Jake. Double trouble on the Cool Thrones. I like that. Let's get to our interview. Great interview with very, very funny comedian Nate Bargatze.
Before we get to Nate, he's brought to you by Body Armor. These interviews are always fueled by Body Armor. Body Armor helps us stay hydrated throughout our interviews with the biggest guests in the world. I've got some right here. I'm drinking the Orange Mango. Elite flavor. It's packed with electrolytes, no artificial sweeteners, no flavors, no artificial flavors, no artificial dyes. Body Armor hydrates the best athletes in the world. More importantly, it hydrates us during interviews. Buy Body Armor today. Visit the Body Armor Amazon store or retailers nationwide. Available in stores nationwide. Head on over to Body Armor store on Amazon. Get yours today. I do highly recommend the Orange Mango. It's superior hydration. Keeps us hydrated during these interviews. And Nate Bargatze is a great interview. Thanks, Nate, for coming in. Thanks to Body Armor.
Okay, we now welcome on a very special guest. You see him everywhere now. It is comedian Nate Bargatze. I screw up your name because I saw you did Fallon, maybe?
Yeah.
And it was you went a whole thing where everyone says Bargatze and then it's Bargatze.
Bargatze.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that I literally woke
Great
up.
day to start the day, dude. I swear. No.
I woke up and I was like, don't say it wrong. Don't say it wrong. And then when you sit down and you keep telling yourself that, you're like, I'm going to fucking say it wrong.
Yeah.
I know I am.
Everybody, I mean, I really don't care. Like it's been said so many different ways. You just kind of go, all right.
Well, it's an A too that screws everyone up.
There's some stuff in there that messes people up.
Italian? Paisan?
Yeah, it's Italian.
Yeah, you got there's like a couple speed bumps in there. They're like, ooh, how am I saying this? Okay.
Yeah, it's tough.
But yeah, you've been everywhere. It's incredible watching the last even 3 weeks. You did SNL a couple weeks ago. You did College Game Day.
Yeah.
Now you're doing PMT. Some say that's the big three.
I mean, y'all are enormous, so it is. It's yeah, it is. I know coming on here, I was like, it's going to get where people are like, all right, dude.
Yeah, enough.
It's been.
Are
Yeah.
people sick of you?
I mean, probably. I'm not trying to make it that way.
No,
but it all just kind of snowballed into, these were all things. Yeah, besides you guys, it was SNL and Game Day all kind of happened very kind of quickly, last minute. And so it just kind of went with it.
It must be very cool because we're about the same age, and I grew up watching SNL, and it's iconic. Obviously, you saw the great cast back, like I think the '80s and the '90s to like mid '90s of SNL. That was like the peak of the show, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
just like iconic stuff, and then you get to host. So what was the process like during the week? Were you involved with the writing? How detailed did they let you get behind the scenes, or were they like, hey, here's the idea we have for a script, here's your role?
Yeah, you show up Monday, and then like 5 o'clock you go in, and then that's where you meet Lauren, you meet all the writers and all the cast, and everybody kind of just pitches just a real like They would be like Washington doing the milliliters and or measurements and just something kind of quickly, and then you go, okay, you just kind of hearing stuff, and then the next day it's a little bit tighter. You go sit with the writers. You're kind of there. You're like noon to 10 or 8 or 7 or 9, something like that, on Tuesday, and then you meet with each writer. And then they kind of go like, all right, we're going down this path with this script. I mean, they really make it around the host.
Yeah.
So that was the host. You have a lot more say than you think as a host. And that was something that some people told me. I mean, as much say as I still, you're like, I'm pretty lucky that they're having me on.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to, be like, well, you're going to do this.
Yeah.
You're gonna do, but you do have a lot of say to go, I don't want to do political. I don't want to, I'm clean. So it's like, I didn't want to do dirty stuff. And so it was, and I said that they're just pitching pretty, the kind of dumb, silly sketches that we ended up having.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of pitches a little bit more because they got to sit up and write all night. So Tuesday night, I mean, all those, you go home and then they stay up. I mean, they might be there till 6 a.m. or something.
Yeah. So I had a question about the clean stuff because I saw your show on Friday night. Absolutely incredible. If you're thinking about going to a comedy show and Nate is in your city, you have to go. It is that good. And I brought my wife and a couple friends, and they had never seen you before. And the best way I described it, I was like, he does comedy on expert mode because he doesn't swear. And it's not like the raunchy stuff, but it's funnier than everyone else who does that. So,
thank you.
But it really does feel that way because us being idiots, when we run out of words, we just say fuck.
It's a nice
cross. It's like, well, I'll just make a dick joke.
Yeah.
So was there ever a point in your career where you were like, people tried to push you one way? You're like, no, I'm staying. I'm going to be me and I'm going to do it my way, because you don't see it very often. And again, you were funnier than pretty much everyone else out there.
Well, thank you. And it was just, I'm not from the South, right? I mean, my dad's here. Like you met my dad. Like I just never wanted them to be embarrassed to come to a show or something. And you didn't curse. You went to church. You did. It was just the environment I was born in.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I moved to New York and people curse more, and then I'd go like around my friends' parents. You're like, yeah, well, there's families in New York or Chicago or somewhere where you're like, people just curse and it doesn't stand out.
Right.
Where it would have really stood out in my upbringing.
Right.
And so I just kind of kept that. But when I first started, you would have to do late. I mean, I would go on at midnight, 1 a.m. at these shows, and some of them would be uncensored show and they're labeled all this stuff, and I would just do my act.
Yeah.
And I would just do it and I think you just do it and just hope no one noticed.
Right.
That was the main thing.
I don't think there's anybody that's in the crowd that's like, I really wish you'd say fuck, man. Like you were so funny, but if you had like talked about like taking a shit, that would have been awesome.
It's people stand up, They go, this is too clean.
I'm
watch a guy will leave.
But that's the testament to how funny you are, is that you don't even notice it because you're just finding funny angles on everything, and you're like, man, I wish I could be smarter like Nate and find a way to speak without swearing every other word.
It's Some comics, what I say, I was like, you gotta fix it off screen if you have someone ever, because no matter what, even if you're a comedian, you're on stage presenting an act, it's probably better not to overly do it.
Right.
It's you can do it but don't overly do it. But you got to just like not do it in real life.
Right.
Yeah. Did that open any doors for you?
I mean, it is now completely, and I thought it would quicker earlier, and it didn't. It took I kind of just. It's been a slow kind of like going. It's always moved forward. I could do late night sets. I did a lot more late night sets than most people. I could be asked to do a late night set last minute because they just knew I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
I don't ever have to worry about. I mean, when I did a Comedy Central special where you couldn't say stuff. I mean, the only thing that would be is that you can't say Walmart, or you can't say McDonald's, or something like that. That would be the only thing I couldn't say.
Yeah. I like the idea of like your big controversy being that someone caught you saying like the F word, being like, oh my God.
It'd be a huge, it just
Like a sex
the disappointment. Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Everything is a lie.
Yeah. They go, this guy.
Did you ever like have a moment of weakness? You're like, you know what, tonight I'm gonna go blue.
I never had the jokes.
Yeah.
So I just never, any sex stuff I never had, and I just never, since I started that way, my brain just never really went that way.
Right.
And everybody I'm friends with, I mean, my closest friends are Big J Okerson and Lewis, Jay Gomez, and a lot of people from this comedy world, the skank world, and like most of my friends are some of the dirtiest comics you could ever see. And they're all very funny. So it was just, I was blended in. Like when I first got at the Comedy Cellar, it was a comedy club in New York. Since I was close with Big J, I first got into that club. They would always put me on real late at night, and I was like, I can tell that like they have not watched my set.
Right.
They just assume I'm with Jay. They assume I'm dirty, and so then they would throw me up at 2 a.m. And it's like I would be better at 8 p.m. than 2.
Yeah.
But it helped me because then you got to make your act work at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You got to somehow. Make it seem like it's, I don't know, it's got, I don't want to say bite to it, but whatever. They just can't be too noticeably clean.
Yeah.
You talked about your dad, and he is here. He just came in the studio a second ago. I saw a clip where he started a fire in your house while you were gone.
Not in my house, in their house. They're now
in their house.
They're now in our house.
How did that go?
He was cooking a bratwurst. I was trying to tell the story. I don't know if I want to say this story. I was saying about him setting it on fire, but I think I got another thing. But he cooked a bratwurst. The idea, like, it's a very old man thing to cook.
Yep.
It feels like. Yeah,
a bratwurst, when you cook a brat, when you actively are saying, I'm going to make a brat, you're like, I'm just going to poison myself for dinner.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really have anything to live for right now.
Yeah, you can like bratwurst. You can like them and eat them at places, but to cook one alone.
Yeah, to actively go out and get one. Yeah, like if you're handed one at like a tailgate, that's normal.
Yeah.
I would even say just like the act of grilling one bratwurst is a very sad
It's
thing
like, it feels like a death row meal.
Yeah. And then, so he left it, he left the stove on, and then it just started smoking and kind of caught fire, and now they're having a new stove. And then, so, I mean, everybody was fine, and but now they're staying with us.
Your dad is very funny. He's I think you told me on Friday night that he's done 90 of your shows.
90 of them.
Which is so cool. Like the fact that your dad, who was a magician when you were growing up, which I'm sure that would probably give a lot of your material, like how you became a funny person. I'm always interested in how comedians become comedians. Having a dad as a magician, I would imagine, had a lot of help in like growing you as a person and material.
Yeah. I don't know if I realized it at the moment, but it was, it does it where it's, he's always done comedy with his magic, so it's always been funny. And so it's like that stuff is just played into it completely. And it did more than I realized. Like as I got older in comedy, it's like I could tell, I think my timing is a lot of based off him and all the kind of little stuff you can see that I picked up just throughout the years.
Yeah.
Was it cool having a dad who's a magician like as a kid, or was there a place where it was cool, then it became not cool, then it became cool again to have him?
Yeah, probably like that. I mean, I was just always around it. So it never really, I look at it like my daughter. My daughter does not know a world that I'm not a comedian.
Right.
And so I don't know a world where my dad's not a magician. Are you? I mean, your kids would
Yeah,
not
no,
know.
my 3 kids, I'm worried for the day when they're like, wait, what did you say online for the last 15 years?
Yeah. Well, they're just going to, I think it's normal. Howard Stern's kids were, he's Howard Stern. Like, I think they just know it and they can separate it. They're not as, you're not always maybe as impressed as at the beginning, versus now. It's like, and it's fun to be able to take him out now because we've always known how great he is. And so now a lot of people are getting to see how fun of a show it is. And I have a lot of people that are like, just when my dad comes out, it's just, they love it so much that they're not expecting, because I think, they're like, all right, we got to watch this guy's dad.
Right.
You don't expect it to be, you just figure like, all right, like I'm watching, I'm doing this guy a favor watching his dad. Mm-hmm. But then when people are losing it and they're laughing, they're like, oh man, it was so fun.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So I had a question about your process as a comedian. I understand, you'll work on material, go up, but when you come up with an idea, like for example, you did this in your SNL monologue, you also have it in your set. I'm not going to burn your set, but just the idea of calling yourself from the 1900s.
Yeah.
Like, when did that just pop in your head? Because it's something that, we're both born in the 80s. We're from the 1900s. But when you say it, it's like, God damn it, that is so funny. And I never even thought of that, just framing it that way.
Yeah. So this hour, for some reason, I started thinking of like old timey when I started thinking of this hour. And this is the first time I kind of thought of it like that. But it was like I was kind of thinking of old timey and just like how we're in such a futuristic world versus what we grew up with. And I had that donkey, which I told on SNL, the donkey story at the fair, and so I had like this old thing. So I was like trying to be like, we're a mix of people that have seen this kind of world that's from the 50s, right? To now, you got your watch sends you a message and you can call on your watch. Yeah. And so it's like there's still a lot of us that have to balance both these worlds where we're not going to learn stuff. And so I was saying it, and just probably a month before SNL, I kind of stumbled on to say I'm from the 1900s, because it was when you start the set, I didn't know. I was like, well, what's the shortest, quickest way to put you in the mindset of what I'm trying to say, right? Mm-hmm. And so you just kind of stumble on it, and then you're like, I'm from the 1900s, and you go, okay, that sets it up. A lot of it is, you can have a lot of funny jokes, but if I don't give any kind of context or put you in that, it's like, what's the quickest way I can set you into that mindset?
Yeah. Get everyone ready and where they're going to be. But I mean, it was very relatable. Like I said, we're both 38 years old, so a lot of the stuff that you talk about, it's like, this is crazy. I'm kind of giving up with new technology. Yeah. Like I've tried 5 times to be a TikToker. Yeah. And it's failed every time. Yeah. I just can't do it.
And with AI, everybody, like even the people that are making AI are giving testimony in front of Congress, being like, be very careful. Like we might screw this up badly. Yeah. And it seems like everything they're coming up with, we all agree like, hey, please don't do this. But they're like, just so you know, it's coming. It's going to suck, but it's coming. It's like, please stop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because they say like they're like, well, it's coming. You're like, yeah, are y'all not in charge of like the reason it's coming?
Because their whole mindset is like, if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Well, no, you just stop doing it.
Let's just take a break.
Take a quick break. Let's reassess. Yeah. Maybe this isn't the best thing ever. Yeah.
Well, I was like, because a thing I was trying to add to it, and I'm still messing with. But there's people being born now that are going to live in the 3000s. Right. You're like, well, what is that?
Right.
That's crazy.
Wait.
You're they aren't. They're going to live in the
2023. If they were 100, it'd be
2100. They're going to live in the 2100s.
Dude, you know what's so funny? I'm so dumb.
Well, we're dumb.
That actually would be a great TikTok.
Yeah. I said that on stage. I've been saying that the past 2 nights. And I was in my head, I was like, this ain't getting what I thought it should be getting. Yeah. And then
that's, you know what it is though? Because we're of a certain age where we saw the change from the 2000. So we're like, holy fuck. We feel like we're in a, it's 20, like my kids will live to like 2100.
Yeah, that's not as fun as 3,000.
I think you should keep doing the 3,000.
Dude,
because you tricked me for a second. I was like, damn, you're right.
Modern medicine, you never know.
You never know. That's right. You were very nice. You helped me go. I mean, just keep bouncing around, dude.
I like that you did this though, because a lot of your set is, self-deprecation about not being the smartest person, and that was very authentic. Like you're not putting on.
I'm not,
Neither are we.
Yeah.
Because you had me for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, 3,000. That's crazy.
That is crazy, and that would be crazy. Dude, I said that on stage, and it's in my head. It works just like it was here.
Yes.
And it's in front of 4,000 people. I'm like, right, everybody, and I'm like, man, this thing, I ain't getting what I think I should be getting out of this. I thought that last night.
They're gonna become like avatars. They're gonna exist online like the Matrix.
Yeah.
And then they might live in 3,000.
Yeah, they might.
We don't know that.
We don't know.
You said it with confidence. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
But wait, no, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
So then you start to doubt yourself.
Yeah.
When it comes to your writing process, are you like hypercritical? Do you micromanage yourself? Do you go back and watch specials and watch anything that you tape and say, okay, that joke didn't get as big a pop as this one, need to retool that one? Or is it mostly about like what you remember in the flow of your shows in terms of like, okay, I'm going to keep this part and maybe add something new?
It's the flow. I mean, you kind of figured out, like I started in Chicago. I lived here for 2 years, and then New York was where it was 8.5 years there. We would all kind of write on stage, and you kind of do it, and you just kind of go, it's filling the audience. And so I do it like that. I don't really watch the old sets, or I should watch more. I never really did that, but you just kind of go in the moment. You just feel it, and you go like, all right, like this is not, I didn't really feel like that got what I thought it should have got. So I either need to present it. I mean, this morning we were riding over, and I was talking about, because a lot of new stuff I have in the front of my hour now, and so I was trying to be like, well, I got to reword this. I was like, I think I got to get into this quicker. Sometimes you can think you need something, this long thing, and then it's to set up something, and you're like, I just need to get into it.
Yeah.
Instead of the setup is too long and it doesn't really matter, and you can feel it, and I can feel it because when the jokes are tight and they're ready to go, you just start hitting at it. It just starts, the crowd just a lot better. Like I have a joke about community college, and like that one I've been doing, and so I do 10 minutes up top. That's still messing around, and then it's like I get in this community college that I know no one knows, and it just starts hitting.
Right.
Because that thing, SNL is people, especially at this crowd, have seen that SNL monologue, and that's all my new hour.
Yeah.
And so when I do those jokes, especially this weekend, it's felt like everybody's like, yeah, we know this joke.
We've heard it.
Because they've just watched it.
Were you worried about that, burning it?
I was, but SNL, I understood the opportunity I was getting, that it's like you can't. I don't have the clout to go like, I'll just mess around.
Yeah.
Like I knew when an audience of SNL versus the people, even though, I'm doing arena, you're doing all these big things, but there's a mainstreamness to SNL that there was a lot of people that are going to see that don't know who I am. Mm-hmm. So it was like you got to go back to prove, like, all right, I got to really prove that to these people that, I'm worth their 10 minutes to watch this monologue or whatever it is.
I also think it was a great appetizer, and I am a believer too. Like a funny comedy special, I'll rewatch. I don't care. Like it's funny is funny.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really. I'm gonna have to just keep doing it. It'll be interesting to see in 2 months what the crowd feels like, if they've kind of like, I can be back doing these jokes. I mean, I'll change up a little bit. There'll be inklings of it. I bet some stuff gets a little dropped or here and there. But overall, it's like you're kind of like, this is part of my hour. You're like showing a glimpse of your hour, and then being like, all right, here's this hour, and then it goes back into my act. But it was very interesting this weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to get back to Nate Bargatze in a second. He's brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's just dropped 2 sauces, sweet and spicy jam and the Mambo sauce. It's super exciting. Mambo sauce is so good. I love it. I put it on everything. I actually hoarded some of the Mambo sauce, took it home, put it on some eggs, put it on some other stuff. The Mambo sauce is great. The sweet and spicy jam goes great with breakfast too. And if you like that spice though, the Mambo sauce and the sweet and spicy jam both pack a kick. They're available for just a limited time only at participating locations. Dip the fries in them. The fries and the sweet and spicy jam, so good. Putting the Mambo sauce on quarter pounder, elite. What's your favorite order at McDonald's? Max, you look like a guy that likes McDonald's.
Love McDonald's. Really good. I like a sausage McMuffin with a hash brown. Put the hash brown in it. That's the best breakfast you can possibly
With
have.
the sweet and spicy jam on it, right,
With
Max?
the sweet and spicy jam, it gives you the sausage has got that little bit of spice to it as well. So the sweet and spicy jam just goes perfectly with it.
The best.
Yes, chef. It absolutely does. So get them with your next order. They're only available for a limited time. So check them out. Get McDonald's sweet and spicy jam and Mambo sauce with your next order for a limited time. And now here's more Nate Bargatze.
So everyone should listen to, Nate has a podcast called the Nateland Podcast.
Yeah.
I was listening to it, and I got a bone to pick with you because you were talking about some of the stuff that didn't make it to SNL. And you were talking about a skit based around people who don't put cases on their phones.
Yeah.
And I really needed to see that because I've been, for 10 years now, a no-case guy. And I've stood on the table for it. And, like, now I have money, so people are like, oh, you'll just go get a new one. But I wrote a blog, like, literally 11 years ago when I had no money, being like, the biggest thrill in life is having no case.
Yeah.
And when you drop it, being like, well, that's probably going to be bad. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling in the world. It's one of life's greatest, like, small thrills that you can have, where every time I'm holding my phone, it's life or death.
Yeah.
So
I'm just now, this is the first time I've ever done no case.
you go no case.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've done
Doesn't it feel good?
Yeah. And it's it just looks very nice.
It's smaller.
Yeah.
It was meant to be held. Like Steve Jobs made it.
Isn't
to
that
be
what
held.
Apple Care is for?
Right.
Yeah.
I have Apple Care.
Right. I do too.
So I think that's I thought that's what it was for.
Sometimes though they really get you because I've broken my phone before and I've been like, but I have Apple Care, and they're like, yeah, but you did such a number on it.
You really broke
Oh,
this.
they're like,
Yeah.
What?
We don't have
Because
that
I'll
part
just
anymore.
drop it like getting out of my car onto cement, and it will just be
cement's
such a
tough.
shatter job. That,
Yeah.
But it's thrilling. Like I've saved it kicking it before.
Yeah.
Like kicking it to
Oh, yeah,
myself.
yeah.
Like those are moments that
Those
I'll
are
just
good moments.
cherish forever.
The idea that I thought of that because you can tell them sketch ideas too. They wrote that one out and it just wasn't, because sometimes the sketch could be, it's like that joke is funny, but I don't know if it can stand
The
on
whole
its own,
thing,
the whole sketch. But they did like it and they wrote it out. But yeah, because I just thought of it because I was like, I don't have one, and then people really get upset.
Yeah,
Like,
they do.
I think they root for you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they want you to drop your phone.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want to see it.
They want to see you in pain.
It does look elegant. The phone it's sleek with
It's
no
a
case
beautiful
on
phone.
it. It is a
Beautiful
beautiful
phone.
phone. And I mean, if you see somebody that has a perfectly clean screen with no cracks, you're like, that person's not any fun.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like if a girl has a cracked iPhone, you're like, she's trouble. But I kind of like
Oh
her.
yeah.
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 things
I mean,
happen.
you see people have phones where you're like, what were you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what is your life?
They're like cutting their finger while they're trying
Yeah,
to use
yeah,
their
But they won't stop using it.
and they won't. Yeah.
Yeah.
They won't go. Yeah. You're like, can you not change it out?
Just scrolling on Instagram.
I respect those people.
Yeah,
though.
I do
They
too.
live life on the edges.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't. They're like, it's people that don't take their phone as serious, which is a good thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
There's another clean comedian out there. I'm not. You probably are aware of him. He's a little niche, but Dan Nanan. Do you know Dan, the clean comedian that lies about his age?
Have you
heard the story of this
I
guy?
don't know.
He is one of my favorite people
Yeah.
online. He's been saying that he's like 28 years old for the last, 15 years.
Yeah.
And he's very clearly like 55.
Yeah.
And he won't admit that he's not in his 20s anymore. He's got like a psychological block against it.
Yeah. How do you spell his last name?
I think it's Nainan. Nainan, Dan Nainan.
Yeah, I think I know who that is.
That guy is my favorite person in the world because he's
I honestly think that guy was with. I remember him when I started,
yeah.
and so
Well, he was 28 then. He's 28
maybe
now.
he's 28
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
I think I remember him when I started. If I'm not, I don't want to say positively, but I feel pretty confident. I remember him, and this is back in message board days and all this, but I remember him being there, and I mean I've done it for 20 years, so I think I remember that name.
20 years is crazy to be doing it.
So he
that
was
long.
8.
Yeah,
he was 8 when
years
he
old.
started. Yeah.
Wow.
Doing jokes about
he was
driving.
a prodigy. Yeah. Yeah.
He's before Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
I remember Pete coming, and Pete was 14 or 15
Yeah.
whenever we first started seeing Pete come around.
Yeah.
So, but this guy was.
Yeah.
When did you start doing comedy? When did you have enough material where you could actually get on stage and be able to relate to somebody with your jokes?
Well, it was 2003. I moved here. I took a comedy class here. Jim Roth, he does a comedy college, and it was. And I wouldn't say you need a class for but I just didn't. You don't know what to do. It's like very intimidating to start comedy. It's you don't know. You just need to be. You want to be around people that are also like starting, and so you at least feel like you can make a friend and all this. And so I started here, and then you just start doing. You can. I mean, doing 5 minutes was like it's like hard to do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then then I went to New York, and then you're going up every night, and you're doing 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and then you just slowly, just over time, get going. It wasn't until my first TV thing was like 2008, I think 7, 8.
Did you wait? Was it Second City that you started?
I
The
took
class
a
there?
little class at Second City, but this one was just stand up.
Okay.
But I took about an 8-week course at Second City. The thing I didn't like about improv is I knew I wanted to be clean, and with improv you got to go with the group,
Right.
Yeah.
And I knew. It's like, well, you're going to go down. I didn't like that I wasn't in control of where it was going.
When they hand you an invisible dildo, you can't be like, whoa.
You're like,
yeah.
hello, banana. And
I
you're
actually,
like,
I took a improv class. I signed up for an improv class at Second City after I'd started at Barstool because I was like, I'm gonna try to get funnier. And I went to one class. I paid like $500, and it was all like kids in their early 20s. And they had a bathroom break in an hour in, and I just left and never came back. Yeah, because I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
like this isn't for me. I'm just gonna keep writing blogs and hope it works out.
Well, it's like anything. Just do what you know how to do, and you will learn within that thing how to do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Was there a moment in those 20 years where you thought it wasn't going to happen? Because it is. I mean, you've arrived a long time ago. Obviously, this last like month and a half has been pretty crazy, which I'm sure it's funny for people to say like, wow, you're really blown up. It's like, well, I've had some pretty successful specials the last, 5 years. I've been doing pretty good. But was there a moment where you're like, this might not work? Like I just can't break through?
I don't know if I ever felt. I remember one time my wife being like, well, how long would you be doing this? Before, like, would you do it? But I was just like, I'll be doing it forever. So, yeah. And then that was the only time we've ever talked about it.
That's a good combo.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you got to go like, well, this is all I know.
Yeah.
This is all. That's what I tell people. If you do anything, you have to be obsessed with it. And if you're not obsessed with it and willing to like, basically just be like, no, I'll do that. There is no backup plan. You really are probably not going to make it because you just can't have a backup.
Yeah. No, that's very similar to like this world. Not you're more successful than us, but having that moment where like I started blogging.
I mean, y'all are enormous.
But thank you. But I started blogging and I was like, well, I'll just go back to like corporate America in a couple of years. If it doesn't work out, and then getting a couple of years in and being like, no, I think this is my job.
But that's what you do.
Yeah.
You go. I know what I can go back to.
Right.
I can't I talk about now. I was a water meter reader in Mount Juliet, and so I knew I could go back to that. It was a job. The guy I started with, he's went back and he's working. He still works there. So I knew there was a job. I was like, I knew I had any job. I knew I had a job I could go back to, and so you have that. But then once you're in it, I don't know if you ever think. I mean, did you think you don't ever think you're not gonna make it?
No, right? Because we kind of did burn the boats too. We've said so much dumb stuff that we're virtually
you can't go back.
unemployable anywhere else in America except here.
Right.
So I could go back. I could go back to being a dog adoption counselor in Austin at some point. That's probably the only job I'm still qualified to do right now. But we've worked ourselves into a situation where like this is our world now.
Yeah.
We're
Like
here.
I had that moment where I was like, I don't think I could even have a resume anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what would my resume? What would I put down? Like I blogged for 10 years.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm in the same thing where it's I don't know.
It's freeing though. Once you take that step over the line, and you're like, this is it.
Well, creating is, I mean, that's what you create. I create. When you create, it's the best because you're in control of it.
Yeah.
Where you have like the strikes are all going on and stuff. All these things that kind of. You feel bad for actors. Like I always thought that with acting is like you gotta hope they want you. It's not in your hands. Mm-hmm. And so when you're a stand-up or when you're doing this, you create it. So you're in it's up to you if you want to do it. Yeah. And that's a very freeing feeling to have, to just go like, I am not relying on someone else.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of the process? Is it when you come up with something that you personally enjoy and you're like, you know what, that's a good joke, I'm very happy with it? Or is it when somebody else, like, you deliver it to an audience and they laugh at it and you're like, okay, that hit, that landed, that's great.
Yeah, new joke is the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
When you have something new. I had one little new thing that I added in this weekend on something, and it just started hitting so hard, and that's because you haven't told it, you're not tired of it, you're not, because you can get tired sometimes telling some of this stuff, because you're tell it hundreds and hundreds of times to fix it, to find it, to whatever, and so when you get something new, it's just like, because you got, it's like you never know what you're got to, when you, as a creator, it's not like you have a plan. You only can go out so far. And so when you come up with something new, it's like, well, now, I've bought some time. You feel like you bought time to go like, well, now I got this.
Yeah. It's like, still got it.
Yeah.
It's like a reminder that you're not completely falling off yet.
Yeah.
That's a cool way to think. A new joke feeling. Yeah. That's got to be right up there.
How's your golf game?
I'm an 8. But
that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's probably even worse now. It hasn't been great with. I haven't been able to play. I need to play, and I just haven't been able to play. It's just it's such a big time commitment, and it's just everything's got busy, and so mentally it takes so much to do it. So I'll go play when I go home and just play at my course, and where I can just run around, and it's not like a whole pressured.
Yeah.
You're not playing somewhere that's the nicest place in the world.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'll just hit around and whatever. But hopefully it got COVID. COVID was, I played every day then.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the holes that had the like cup filler in it. Remember those?
Yeah, just walk around outside.
How many lives did those save?
I don't know.
Probably millions.
But people shot some low scores.
Yeah.
Because you just brush that little pool noodle, you're like,
got it,
birdie.
Got it.
Going 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, like, COVID was actually a great thing for America. If you look at our handicaps,
all went down.
Yeah.
And now we're all regretting it, because now you're down there and you're like, man, this is not.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're playing against someone, you're like, damn, I wish I didn't have that COVID score on there.
Yeah.
What? So you're from Nashville. Do you root for Vandy? Not Tennessee.
I'm a big.
Oh,
Vandy
that's
fan.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it was. Growing up, we had my mom worked at Vandy. She in the ticket office for a little bit. I had a cousin that coached there in the 70s, and so we just kind of grew up around Vandy, and so I've always been a Vandy fan. I think it's built character in me.
Yeah,
like it's adds a lot. I'm a giant. I love Vandy fan. We got baseball now.
Baseball's
women's
great.
Bowling, I say we're quite the problem for teams in women's bowling.
Women's bowling?
Yeah, we're not. You do not want to.
Okay. Yeah.
I do think that rooting for a bad team does build character, though. I think you're definitely right about that.
Like,
we both root for the worst NFL teams. He's a Bears fan. I'm a Commanders fan. If we were successful, if we rooted for like the Patriots, then people would absolutely hate our guts.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you can see. There's a lot of kids. I remember like LeBron was. He's like a Yankees,
Cowboys,
Bulls, Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
And there's like that that age where you're like, are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah.
But then he went to play for Cleveland, so you're like, all right. Well, he was in it.
Yeah.
With but yeah, when they root for all you're like, well, I know the Cowboys are not doing good now.
Yeah, there's a whole generation of people who picked up the Cowboys and they're like, wait, we thought we'd win every year. And it's been like 25 years where they haven't won anything.
Yeah, you got to go through that.
Yeah.
It's nice to just be like, golly, just you think, your heart gets broken so much.
Yeah.
I saw Vandy. We played. I remember in like 95 or 6 or something. We played LSU. LSU was ranked 7th. We're not ranked, and it's 7-0. And then we score a touchdown with 13 seconds left, so it's 7-6. And so we're going to go for 2 because it doesn't, doesn't matter. And I was at the game. You're like, this is the greatest thing. We're about to beat. If we get it, we're going to beat LSU. We had all the momentum. We get back-to-back delay game penalties. and then kick like a 90-yard extra point that gets blocked and then lose the game. And it's stuff that you're like, I couldn't have even guessed that that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You thought, all right, worst case, we just don't get it, but we tried. Back-to-back delay. And then the next day, because this one you had to read in the paper about the interviews. Next day, they asked, it was Woody Woodenhofer, who passed away, but they asked him, they go, what play were you going to do? He goes, the same play. You're like, then what were y'all talking about over there? You know, because just there was no change. There was nothing.
But here's the one like positive thing about being a Vandy fan is it's every other team in the SEC's nightmare to lose to Vandy. You have that over them where like you could lose 20 in a row, but if you beat them once, like LSU, Alabama, all these teams, they would be completely mortified and it would ruin their year.
Yeah.
So you have that like
it's tough.
Eternal spoiler.
When we Cutler beat Tennessee for the first time in 20-something years, I have the DVD of that game at home. And it's, I mean, that was one of the greatest days. That's what I mean. Like, if you're, you know, like say you just become a Chiefs fan now, right? And you've seen them win all these Super Bowls now. It's like the appreciation of we didn't even go to a bowl game that year that we beat Tennessee, but we beat Tennessee. Yeah, and it hurt them so bad.
You beat Florida in the swamp too.
Beat Florida in the swamp.
That was
and then So you like when you do this you do those like that is my national championship.
Yeah, right.
And so you appreciate it at a level that's
and it completely ruined. Like there's a Florida fan and a Tennessee fan listening to this right now, being like, God damn it, Cutler did beat us in the swamp.
Yeah.
Cutler did beat Tennessee.
It's
and they're
like being
still
from
upset about it.
It's being from a small town kind of feeling where you're like, I'm not in the big city. I don't know how that is.
Yeah.
So we don't get talked about much. I mean, I remember watching ESPN or if you see, I remember just trying to see if your team would get talked about. If they were, you know, like if we had a good weekend and then you're like, dude, I mean, they might like, you know, part of the eruption might talk about us or someone might talk about and so then you get to hear people talk about Vandy and you just are like, I can't believe, you know, because they're not, you know, they're just talking about the main biggest market.
We get that on this show where we'll talk about, you know, a cool story or a smaller team and people are like, thank you for talking about us.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for giving us 3 minutes on this team.
Yeah, we don't need much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just be like, they're good.
They're good. Yeah, and you're like, they are good.
Yeah, rewind.
I mean, game day, they were not going to show that Vandy Auburn pick.
No.
And they did that just because I was on. They're like, all right, we'll start with Vandy Auburn.
What was that like on game day? Any pressure to get your picks right?
I don't know to get. I wanted to. Again, you're going to such a giant thing, and obviously being from the South, game day is a giant thing for us, and I mean for everybody that's in college football. But game day is such a big thing, and so I went. We like kind of said I was like I just wanted to have it. You have like 5-10 seconds for every pick, so I was trying to just come up and just have a joke with everything. So just everything I got to, we just went through it and like just be like, just let me have one quick little joke, whether be the best joke I could come up with for what it was. So I think I did good. I think Arizona beat UCLA last night.
They did.
I think I had 3 losses.
Yeah, and you also pissed off all of Oklahoma, which is good.
Yeah,
because that's really the key to college football discourse is like you got to make at least one fan base hate you so much.
Yeah. I never want to do that, and it's
impossible not to.
It's impossible. I mean, that was in the moment. I did not think of that until in the moment. But then you're surrounded by all SEC.
Yeah.
I was just trying to make a joke, and that was the only. I just in the moment I was like, I'll just say this, and then I just said it, and then afterwards, college football fans can get very upset.
You're gonna get it like when Oklahoma hangs 60 on Vandy. You're gonna get so many people being like,
Comes
"Oh yeah,
Nate,
yeah." What did you say?
Expect it, to be like, yeah.
But they're thinking about it. They're waiting for that moment. They're waiting for that moment. That's the best part about college football is you say one thing. It could be a throwaway line, and people will remember it for years and years and years to shove it back in your face.
Yeah, I wonder when we play.
But imagine all you have to do is just beat them once. If you beat
what if
you beat them
one
the first time?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If Vandy beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You're building something, man.
So
Vandy's building something.
That's why I love college football though.
Yeah.
People are so psycho and everyone's psycho. Like it's not like, oh, there's a rational fan base out there. No. Everyone has their own quirks. Every fan base is weird in their own special way.
The rational ones are the one that went to that school.
Yeah.
It's the people that couldn't go. I mean, yeah, I'm cheering for Vanderbilt, a team that I could never get in that school.
Right.
And then you become teams of all this stuff that's like Oklahoma, all this, what?
Yeah.
That's actually insane that you became a Vanderbilt fan without going to Vanderbilt. It's like you chose this life.
Yeah. I mean, you just kind of.
That's torture.
Yeah, you just get into it. And a lot of 2 wins. Had some 0 wins.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people
but
say,
you
like,
believe it's going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, the beginning of the season, you're like, dude, we might. I mean, this season.
oh, yeah, you put up, you played Hawaii and you beat them.
We beat them. This season, I go, we might be undefeated going into Georgia. and I believed it in my heart. And you just, because that's what I love about. That's what I love about sports is you go, I don't know how we're not going to be undefeated.
I mean,
you go, show me where we're going to lose.
Yeah.
You're asking your other friends, point at the game.
At worst, we're 9 wins.
Yeah. I go, at worst, if you're lucky, I'll give you we have 1 loss. I'll give you Georgia might be.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
That's why August is my favorite month. I wish I could go back there right now because I'm a Bears and Wisconsin Badger. I went to Wisconsin and it's like, there's many clips of me being like, yeah, I think Bears are going to win 11 games, and Wisconsin's like 10 or 11 as well. And like both are not even close. But that 2 weeks preceding football season where you're just walking around and be like, anything could happen.
So you're a Commanders fan. I was a Redskins fan when I grew up because we didn't have the Titans.
Right.
Now I'm a Titans fan. But they're when they were the Washington football team was the best. That was the best name in the world.
I agree.
And it made me when that name came out, I go, I feel stupid saying these other names.
Yeah, exactly.
I go, why are we? It should be the Tennessee football team, and it should be, you're like, oh, the Titans or the Dolphins, and you're like, this feels stupid saying these.
Yeah,
exactly. You're like a Philadelphia fan. You root for like a cartoon bird.
Yeah,
yeah. Great job. We're a football team. We play football.
Yeah.
None of this candy ass stuff.
Yeah, it made it. I like, and it never thought about it until they were the Washington football team. I was like, well, that's the best name I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I kind of hope they go back to it.
Yeah.
I do too.
I don't think they're going to stay with the Commanders. I think they're going to go back either to the football team, maybe the Hogs. We might be the Hogs. Cartoon pig would be kind of fun, but
yeah, the Hogs would be good. But I think the whole league should just say the city you're from. And the Miami football team, and you're like perfect.
Yeah,
I agree.
play football.
Yeah.
We line up and play football.
We line up. Yeah, we don't need. These are grown men.
Yeah, because the Dolphins. I mean, we have a theory like the Dolphins, very good team. But when you take those jerseys, the aqua and the orange and all that, and you put them in like Buffalo or Pittsburgh in like a December game, you can't win that game.
That is true.
You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just the jersey.
It's a summer. It does. It's got a summer vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you can't play football in those jerseys in January.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a little more hard. Your colors need to be a little harder.
Yeah.
And this is also why I'm a lifelong loser betting. So
Yeah.
because I'm betting on football jerseys.
Yeah, being a Dolphin fan is probably so fun right now.
Yeah. Well, we can't beat
They
any good teams.
Just lost today.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun, but you also have to think in the back of your head, like, we might be frauds.
Yeah, which is the worst thing that could happen. You'd much rather be like, I know my team is bad, or I know my team is good, but being the frauds where it's like, oh, our record is good, but every time we play a good team, we lose. That's the worst feeling in sports.
I like Mike McDaniels a lot, and I met him. Dan Soder, comedian, is
Yes,
him and
his
Mike McDaniels.
childhood friends.
Yeah. And so we met him when he was at the Redskins, the Commanders, or the Washington football team. And so we met him then, and he was like on before San Francisco. He's like coming up, and so it's super fun to see.
Yeah, his
like,
come up.
Yeah, where he's at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I have one last question. This has been awesome, Nate. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh
to
yeah,
come
thanks
by.
for having me.
Roback question, RHOBACK.com, promo code TAKE, Roback.com, promo code TAKE, Q-Zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, everything, Roback.com, promo code TAKE. So a little bit of a personal question that I might be projecting, but how long do you think you can do comedy? Can you do it for the rest of your life? Or is it something that in your head you're like, I'm going to be 65 doing this? And again, I might be projecting because I ask myself this all the time. Like,
Yeah, I mean Seinfeld does it. He's 68.
true. Good
And
point.
then, Cosby did it for as long as he could.
He turned out great.
He turned out great.
As long as he could is a great way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean his age didn't stop him.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Don Rickles was 90.
Yeah.
I mean when Don Rickles got up there, I think it was pretty tough in the it just they get so they're older. I mean, Steve Martin and Martin Short still go out. They're 78 maybe, or I don't know how old Martin Short, but they're that old. So comedy is a great thing that you build your audience. And if you keep growing with your audience, I mean, I think you hit an age where you're not getting new fans,
Right.
But the people that do like you are just kind of keep going with you, and you just keep putting stuff out.
Yeah.
So I do think you can do it for as long as you want to. It's tiring to come up with stuff. You guys will know that creating stuff can be exhausting, and you're just kind of nonstop. So it'd be nice to be like, just where you can go. I'll go out when I want to go out. Seinfeld right now can just go, you know what, I'm going to go to Philadelphia. And then he's like, let's go set it up. Or he's coming here to Chicago next week with Gaffigan.
Right.
Him and Gaffigan are doing shows together. And, you can mix, can do some stuff like that. It's like, that's kind of some fun things.
Yeah.
I do hope to create stuff that can outlive, where I don't have to go out and do shows.
Right.
But I think I'll always do shows.
Yeah.
Telling a joke, live audience. That was the thing about Saturday Night Live. Performing in front of a live audience in Saturday Night Live, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's just your timing is good. Everything, it's just the greatest thing to go do something live.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing that I think would be addicted to, is you want to get out in front of a crowd and be like, I want to make them laugh in the moment and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really hear about comedians retiring that much. Just like hanging up and saying, I'm just going to stop being funny.
Yeah, they don't. Bill Engvall, I think, kind of retired recently. But, it's like he'll still pop up and do some benefit show. You're still going to get asked to do stuff. So I think you just kind of do it. Foxworthy, I know, goes around. The goal is to hopefully do it how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Where you can go, I'm going out. I go out twice a month or something.
Yeah.
And then whatever. Instead of now where it's I look at going, I'll get to 50 and then I'm 44. So I always thought 40 to 50 would be my, it's like that'll be a giant run, and let me see where I'm at 50, and I might be like, well, no, I'm gonna keep.
Well, it's right now. It's like you're to the moon.
Yeah. Well, it's
crazy.
crazy. So hopefully people don't get. I don't want to be too much around. I try to not. This has been a lot this week, but
does it ever bother you when people say you're the nicest guy in comedy? That would bother me.
No, I like it. I don't,
You are like a nice guy, but nice is sometimes seen as like, oh, he's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want people to think it's fake, But
it's not fake.
It's like, because I think people think I'm very driven. I'm very, with comedy, I can take comedy very serious. I have all that stuff, but then it's also, I just want to be nice. I just want to be nice when you meet people and you meet people that come into your shows and stuff like that. I just don't ever think the weight of my world should be on an audience's shoulders.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't want them to ever worry about it. I'm there to entertain you, and that relationship should be that.
I think it's also just like the idea of a comedian, people can't really be like, hey, he's a really good person, because comedians, like, you think, oh, well, they're, making jokes at everyone's expense and that, but that's obviously not you.
Yeah.
So I think it's like,
well, that's why I make fun of myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And or my fan. Yeah. I never liked making fun of someone because I just feel bad.
Right.
And so then now I can just, the way I do my hour now is like, I've stumbled on this. I write it where it feels like, I feel like a movie. Like I'm just, even these are real stories, but it's like I'm a character in a movie. When you're up there, you're like, I'm kind of just reading a movie to you. And so I just want you to picture me like Adam Sandler movies, or, it's him making fun of himself in all these movies. And it's that kind of feeling where you just want to be like, this is just trying to be fun. I'm in this movie. I'm just kind of this fun, dumb guy going through all this kind of stuff.
Well, like I said, I saw you on Friday night. I was dying laughing. You're insanely talented. And thank you again for stopping by. We love having you on.
Man.
Anytime you're in town, maybe hit the golf simulator.
I know. Y'all
game
got
going.
this is such a unreal space.
Yeah.
It is very cool.
Yeah, we're very excited. So.
Yeah. I would be. I definitely would be excited.
Yeah.
It's fun to come to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks so much, Nate. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thanks, man. Nate Bargatze was brought to you by Amazon Music. Prime members specifically. If you're a Prime member, I know I am. A lot of you out there are Prime members. Did you know that you could be listening to this podcast episode and all Barstool Sports podcasts on Amazon Music ad-free, simply included with your Prime membership? All Amazon Prime members also get access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts. You can enjoy shows like Part of My Take, Spittin' Chicklets, listen to Ryan Whitney be wrong about the Edmonton Oilers, and many, many more.
So wrong.
So wrong. Actually, he was right, and then he was wrong about being wrong about him.
He did an emergency spaces last night on Twitter. That means he's feeling it.
He's got to be doing more than that. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app or visit amazon.com/barstool23. That's amazon.com/barstool23.
Okay. The triumphant return of Guys on Chicks.
Bum, ba-da-bum.
Bum, ba-da-dum.
Hank, how's your reading voice doing?
Great. I was born to read.
The triumphant return of Guys on Chicks. Hank was born to read. He's a reader through and through. Henry. Guys on Chicks.
Hi, PMT.
Breaking Moose. This comes from Dove Kleinman.
Uh-huh.
He is saying that there
Cut
is
Hank's mic off, please.
a rumor
Thank you, Max.
owner Robert Kraft could move on from Coach Bill Belichick if they lose in Germany to the Colts via the Boston Globe.
That's interesting.
From
Big Cat.
the report, based on my conversation, I don't think it's 100% that Belichick finishes out the season. I have the hiccups.
Could they leave him in Germany?
Dov Kleiman's on a real person.
This report sounds real, and it's via the Boston Globe. Ever heard of it? They did
Hold on, I have
Spotlight.
more.
They did Spotlight, Hank.
If Belichick comes home from Germany with a 2-8 record, I think there's a chance the Krafts could make the move in the bye week and install Jared Mayo as the interim coach for the final 7 games.
Wait, but Big Cat, I have a question. Didn't he just sign an extension this offseason?
He did.
Oh, also in that same report, it says that it was an extension through 2024, so it's a one-year
What
extension.
was that noise, Hank?
What'd you say?
What was that
Oh,
noise,
sorry.
Hank?
Max cut my headphones too.
Thoughts, Hank?
I didn't. Max cut my headphones.
People would like to know your thoughts.
About what?
This report. You want me to read it all again from the start?
No. Just win in Germany, and this isn't a problem.
Okay, so this is a
must-win for Belichick.
Must win in every sense of the word.
Yeah, every game is a must win. I'm not fucking
He's
stupid.
literally coaching for his job.
Yeah.
It's his job to coach.
He's always coaching for
Also,
his
I
job.
feel like anytime a team is bad and they're playing overseas, the go-to joke is leave blank in blank.
Yeah, leave him on the tarmac.
Yeah.
Don't bring him home.
I feel like Belichick would have fun if he got left in Germany. though.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
I think like if Belichick got fired, he'd go on an awesome bender.
go hang out with your
'Cause, like,
girlfriend. Yeah.
Like if he's been fired before with the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
This time he's fired and he's got 6 rings. Who the fuck cares? He's got probably hundreds of millions of dollars.
Do you not count the defensive coordinator rings? Like that? He's got 8 rings.
Do we?
As a head coach, he's got
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, but he's got 8.
Okay.
It's a team.
So you count all those? Okay, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Okay.
I mean, he's a defensive coordinator. It's not like he was like special teams assistant.
Yeah, but I just think it's interesting that he might get fired as head coach, and there's 2 other guys that are sitting in the same room as you that are looking for head coaches. Now, wouldn't that be something if one of us got him?
Yeah, it would be something.
Yeah.
It would definitely be something.
Which team would you rather he go to, the Commanders or the Bears?
Probably I don't know. I mean, at least the Commanders have a new owner, and they might turn things around. The Bears are currently a dumpster fire with no turnaround in sight.
The oldest owner.
So at least the Commanders, like, they are a horrible franchise with just a history of losing over and over and over again, and breaking players, losing good players, losing all their good coaches. But that was kind of the old regime, and maybe the new regime can be a little better. So I
want Harbaugh, so I don't care.
I would take Belichick. I just want to say that. For the record, I think Bill Belichick is a good head coach, and I would like to see him coaching my team. And especially if it's instead of Hank's team.
I think I want Harbaugh in Chicago more than anything I've ever wanted in my life.
Mello?
I did want Mello very badly. Yeah.
Didn't get him. Hey, PMT.
Hey.
My boyfriend has lost so much lately that not even my roommate wants to sleep with. Oh, not even my roommate wants to sleep with him. What can I do to make him feel better? He says he just wants to focus on work.
What the fuck is this?
But I heard from one of his coworkers that he's having trouble hitting a button 3 times a week.
Oh, man.
This is memes.
Oh, this
Memes,
is so
memes.
fucking funny.
My girlfriend's roommate.
I hadn't read these.
I get it
or my
now.
roommate's
I get it now.
boyfriend. That was the question? Read the start.
My boyfriend has lost so much lately that not even my roommate wants to sleep with him.
Oh, that's such a great setup.
This is
Um,
That might not be about Max, though.
Yeah, that could be about anyone. So let's answer this. All right. This guy sounds like he might be going on a diet, so that's good. Maybe he'll get his libido back.
I think what he needs to do to turn it around is first of all, he needs to dedicate himself to his job. If you can find success professionally, then you feel better about yourself. So if you get really into doing your job well all the time, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Second, we can learn from Arthur Smith a little bit, change up the facial hair, maybe take the beard off. And I'm just assuming this guy has a beard. If you're sad and if you're losing, you grow a beard. It's your sadness
Sounds like
escaping
a
your
loser.
face.
I cut my hair. On
Wait,
Friday.
what? Whoa,
This is
what?
not- what do you mean you? This isn't about you.
I cut my hair. I was just letting you guys know.
You are a
I got haircut.
narcissist.
Are you so
I'm letting you
Max,
know.
are
guys
you
wanted to
so
know.
sad that you won't even sleep with your girlfriend's roommate?
I do not sleep with my girlfriend.
You
This
did
is.
once.
You did. You slept with her.
You did once.
I fell asleep.
You literally
one time.
slept with her.
What happens after you fall asleep?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Where did you fall asleep? Or where'd you wake up?
Did you or did you not sleep together?
This was so long ago. Like, why? This shouldn't be still talked about.
I've realized Hank's kind of like Ron Burgundy on the teleprompter. Whatever. You put.
Yeah. You could do anything.
Yeah, facts.
See, that's how great of a reader he is.
Mm-hmm.
I was born to read. My boyfriend is a big soup guy and loves to make it. He's been exploring new recipes of different soups that he finds on TikTok and are a good amount, and some are good and some aren't so good. Chicken noodle is his best
Born to
soup
read.
that he makes. That was worded incorrectly. Chicken noodle is his best soup that he makes, but also makes it at least 3 times a month. How do I go about telling him that some of the new soup recipes are not good and telling him that he makes chicken noodle soup too often? Sounds like a soup hater.
Yeah, this is a hater for sure. Like, he's experimenting. Your complaint is that your boyfriend switches up the soups too much. Like, that's a good thing. But then also at the same time, you're like, he makes the same soup all the time. I don't understand that. Like, first of all,
If he has a good soup recipe that he makes, 3 times a month isn't that much.
it's really not.
And soup is like, if you want a meal, you can get a meal. Soup is just great to have whenever you need it.
And a little soup hack here for all my broth heads out there. If you make a good chicken noodle soup, you can switch it up a little bit. A chicken noodle soup can turn into an avgo limono Greek soup. That's a Greek chicken soup, which is my favorite soup in the world. It can also turn into a chicken tortilla soup if you add in, like some peppers, some corn, some tortilla strips. So you can make variations off the chicken noodle soup. But yeah, this sounds like you don't know what you want.
Also, sounds like you just need more crackers. I'm a big crackers guy in my soup. Any type of soup. Just more crackers. Spice it up.
Hey, boys.
Hey.
My boyfriend and I have lived together for over a year now and have been talking for years. He's always been into sports, but after moving in together, I've come to know what that truly means. When can I expect to have my boyfriend back? He likes the Steelers, Penguins, and Michigan football.
Oh, he's got a lot going on.
I mean, if you didn't know this obsession before you moved in.
Also, the answer is May, June, July.
Yeah.
He sounds like a Pittsburgh fan. The good news is, because he's a Pittsburgh fan, he probably doesn't watch any basketball.
Or baseball.
Yeah. So you're good. You get almost a third of the year with your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Don't push it.
Every guy's sports addiction is like any other addiction. They let you know they dabble in it, but they hide from you how truly, like, the lengths that it goes to. So when you see it in your face, you're like, wow, that's way more sports than I thought you did.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot of sports.
You do a lot of sports.
I could quit any time, but I love doing it.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Hey, father of 3, best college team in the nation, PFT. Loser
Which
Hank.
sport? Did she specify which sport?
Loser Max. She did not.
Could be 3.
And very cool Jake. My fiance has really bad gas. He rips a loud one right when we wake up, as we're laying in bed at night, during dinner, literally all the time.
That sounds normal, actually. That's not.
The during dinner's a little much.
He refuses to go see the doctor to see if he has a problem and says, it's just who I am. I fart a lot and they smell. That's part of being a man.
Yes.
Do all men fart all the time? What's an acceptable amount of farts in a day?
You know what? I've never kept track of how often I fart.
I would say
It's a game of runs. Sometimes it's really bad. It's a
really
really
is,
bad
Jay.
day. Sometimes you don't fart at all.
well, yeah, it's diet. So if you want to just start feeding him better food, he probably won't fart as much.
I've actually noticed the opposite. If I eat healthy, I have worse farts.
Salads are the worst farts. I was so excited to chime in. Eating healthy makes you fart more, and that's just a fact.
I don't know about that.
It might be
It's
because
true.
your body's
It's
so confused.
Like
It's like, what
eggs.
is this?
Wrong.
What
Well,
is
no,
a, what is a
egg-
vegetable?
But if you just eat protein, if you go caveman diet, I don't think you'd
Caveman
fart
would
that
probably be
much.
fine.
Yeah. Caveman diet.
I would just love to see that guy actually go to the doctor, and he makes an appointment. The doctor's like, "What's the problem?" He's like, "I fart."
He's like, pull my finger.
Yeah, the doctor. They just start farting in the room together, having a great time.
I would say baby steps. Dinner is an appropriate time to say, please don't fart. Every other time, just let them be. And as we always say with guys on chicks, if you just start farting, he might stop. You know, like if you just start farting in his face and you're like, that's what I do, I fart. He's like, oh, all of a sudden farts aren't that funny.
Fight fire with fire. If you fart exactly as often as he does,
he will stop. I guarantee you. If you fart as much as him and then you're like, hey, let's make a pact to stop farting, he will stop.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just slip him some Beano.
Does that work?
Yeah.
I gotta get on some Beano. I gotta start doing lines of Beano.
Beano does work. Okay. Good show, everyone. Everyone go, if you're in Chicago, come to the Barstool Invitational. If you're not, Barstool.tv.
Good reading, Hank.
6 p.m. Central is the first game tipping. 5:45, I think, is the anthem.
It's also on the Barstool Sports YouTube.
Ooh, on the YouTube as well.
After party at the River North Bar.
Hell yes.
Afterwards.
Okay. Hank.
I'm going to be ripping that River North Bar.
Have you ever gotten this?
Gotten what?
The lottery ball.
Yeah, I have.
This one?
On the new machine?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's too bad.
Have you?
Numbers.
18.
8.
17.
20.
What? What are you laughing about?
52.
3.
Where'd you get 52 from?
Khalil Mack.
It's like Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Let's go, Khalil.
Evan has 99.
10.
Shane has 10.
Nice job, doofus.
I hope Evan gets it.
Fuck you, you freak.
I think Evan's going to get
Statistically,
Someone's about to
17 is a
get this.
horrible pick.
What's Evan's number?
it. Evan has 99.
Ooh.
It feels good. Isn't there? There's also 100 in this
Oh, yeah.
one, right?
Also, in the reveal video, 47 popped up, and I had a few people
That
ask
counts.
me. It counts.
Counts.
Counts for them or for...
Counts for the machine.
Okay.
Officially.
I don't know if I can add it in because it wasn't in an episode. We'll figure it out. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Let's go!
You dickhead.
52. Hank gets it first.
You dickhead.
Let's go. Let's go. This is mine now. Thank you. Thank you very much. Khalil Mack. Big Cat took my number. PFT took my number. I got it. Big Cat took my number. I got it. I looked around. I saw this bobblehead Khalil Mack sitting right behind Big Cat. Bang! Bang! Bang!
We have to get a new lottery ball machine.
Wow.
My night is ruined.
That's huge for Hank.
Shut up, Jake.
I'm
You
just
make this
setting the
worse.
stage.
I'm gonna
You
have
make it worse.
Great night tonight.
Boo.
It's sad how much of your night and your life really is predicated on you guessing.
Are you guys talking about yourselves?
No, yours is.
Let's do another.
17.
Counts.
Counts.
Yeah,
counts.
18.
20.
Let's go 34.
We're going Shaq now? All right, I'll do 33. Rondane. What do you guys guess? What'd you guys guess?
8.
I don't think any of us are changing.
Yeah.
Shane 10.
Yeah.
God damn it, Hank.
Only Hank changed.
Bill Belichick's going to leave you, and he's going to coach my team. He's going to win a Super Bowl.
96.
Oh, fuck. I thought that was 99 for Evan.
It wasn't even close.
Delete
96
this. Delete
looks a
all of
lot.
it.
No,
That's
the
not
two-
even
the
for
two-
me.
The two numbers
Max,
are
you can
upside
delete
down
this,
from
Max.
each
You
other.
can delete this.
I could. Don't post it.
You could.
What if I didn't press the button?
Oh!
Soul patch for 2 years.
Why don't we just delete it? Why don't we just start over?
Max, would it be worth it for you to
That
have a
didn't
soul
count.
patch
No,
for 2
that
years
didn't
for
count.
Hank not to get it?
I would rather Hank get the lottery ball every single day.
You're such a piece of shit, Hank.
I
Lost your computer for 7 days.
Where is that computer?
Did you hide it?
I don't have it.
No.
I don't fucking know. I don't care.
So you're just not going to work?
I'll find it. I'm going to enjoy this moment.
Show's over. Love you
I
guys.
hate you so much.